Hello and welcome along to the Sports Corner Live. We are back once again for another Europa League watch-along, and this week we have a mammoth fixture between Benfica and Rangers, and it's quite weird actually because it's our first time that we've done one that's an early kick-off, so it does kick off in about 5 minutes time, maybe a little bit more than that. But it's a big game indeed because it's two sides that are currently unbeaten in their group, both on 6 points. And it's really important for both of these sides today to try and get that to get the 9 points on the board, of course, and take the lead in this group because, of course, it's crucial at this stage. It's quite it's not, I wouldn't say tricky group, but, you know, Benfica, very good start on the day. Rangers, we've seen it before against Portuguese competition. It could be quite a contest, this one, and of course, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the side that loses tonight to go and continue their winning streak of games because, of course, they've got other teams in this group that'll be hoping tonight they could pick a few points on the board indeed. But joining us for this game, we actually do have someone with us for Europa League match tonight. He's been watching Rangers quite a lot over the last few weeks. It is Kieran. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. And as you say, I've watched Rangers' first two fixtures. I watched them, I'm pretty sure they played Lask Linz, and I'm pretty sure the other team they played was, of course, like Poznan last week. Not the greatest performance from a Rangers standpoint. Terrible pitch, which didn't really apply to their style.
No.
So I'm looking forward to this one, as you say. Both teams on 6 out of 6, but Benfica never been defeated at home in this tournament before. Can Rangers buck the trend?
Well, that's the thing. It's a very big test indeed, and we'll be kicking off in about just above 5 minutes time. So we're going to very quickly go through the teams, go through the lineups for this game. Of course, as well, for those of you that do regularly watch these Europa League watch-alongs, you'll see on the bottom of your screen right now a couple of the other games that are going across the screen. We'll update you with the scores of those matches tonight. Some of the big games include Ludogorets. They're taking on Spurs, of course. We saw last week Royal Antwerp beat Spurs in the Europa League, a big loss for the English side, of course. Hapoel Beersheva taking on Leverkusen, who are in quite some form right now, the German side, although they did lose to Slavia Prague last week, who are playing against Nice. Of course, Rowan will be fixated on that game, as you all know, in terms of the regular people on the channel. And then you can see POK taking on PSV Eindhoven, Rijeka taking on Napoli, Sociedad against AZ Alkmaar. That group right now is quite interesting. But, of course, you are here for that game between Benfica and Rangers. So, without further ado, before this game does start, let's have a look at the lineups for both of the teams. So, let's start off with the home team tonight. Of course, as Kieran said, unbeaten in this competition in terms of ever at home, which is crazy. Here is the Benfica lineup, which is a 4-3-3. Vlachodimos, as it's more preferably pronounced, is in goal. Back four of Diogo Gonçalves at the left-back position. Nuno Tavares on the right. Vertonghen and Otamendi, two recognisable former Premier League defenders, as the two centre-backs tonight. Midfield three, there's another recognisable old Premier League midfielder in there, Adel Taarabt, alongside Julian Weigl, and the very highly rated Portuguese midfielder Pizzi. He's been incredible over the last couple of years for the Portuguese side. And then up top tonight, they have the Brazilian Everton, Seferovic, and Rafa. And then this is how the away side is looking. Rangers also going with a 4-3-3 tonight. McGregor is in goal. A back four of Barisic at left back, Tavernier at right back, Helander and Golson as the two centre backs. Aribo, Jack and Davies make up the midfield three. And then up top tonight, you've got Ryan Kent on the left, Kamara on the right, and Alfredo Morelos, who of course scored the winning goal against Lech Poznan last week, up top. It is a very, very big test tonight for Rangers. Is this their biggest test of the season so far?
Oh, massively. Of course it is. You know, we were speaking earlier before the stream was in. Benfica are a team that are synonymous with Champions League football, not really Europa League football. You know, they've been Portuguese champions numerous times, and this is a tournament that they don't want to probably stay in for too long. You know, hopefully it's a one-year stint and then they can get back up to the big time. But alternatively, Rangers have been on great form. I think they're still unbeaten in the league. They're still unbeaten in this tournament as well, and I want to continue that. Different shape from Gerrard tonight. I don't think it's going to be a 4-3-3. I can't see Glenn Kamara being a bombing right winger. Probably swap with Aribo in that sort of situation. So, and you obviously don't have the likes of Hadji because I think he knows the attacking threat that Benfica bring, and you're looking out for them. Everton, Rafa, Pizzi, the star men, the really creative midfielders, the really pacey wingers that are going to cause the fullbacks of Rangers all sorts of problems.
They are indeed. Let's have a quick look at the bench before the game just kick off. The players are just coming out onto the pitch right now in Portugal. These are the players that could come off the bench in this game, of course, if you are unaware, there are 5 substitutions in the Europa League and the Champions League this season. So looking on the left-hand side for Benfica, they've got the Miles Vilar, the young goalkeeper, which we saw in the Champions League a few years ago, the likes of Grimaldo, the Spanish left-back, Gabriel, the Brazilian midfielder, Volschmieder, recognisable to Bundesliga fans from last season. They have a plethora of players that they could bring off the bench tonight. And as for Rangers, they've got a few players of their own that they could bring on. Of course, we talked earlier about Enis Hadji. He's on the bench tonight, which I think is an interesting call from Gerrard. The likes of Kamar Roof, Brandon Barker, Scott Arfield. Both teams have got quite a decent amount of players that they could bring off the bench.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of names, you probably... looking more at that Benfica team, you know, Servi, the Argentinian winger, he's always going to bring a bit more pace as well. So if you're done with Everton, bring on Servi and hit him with some more pace. And as you say, for Rangers, Kamaru's made an impact off the bench already, scoring that worldie from the halfway line, which he did earlier in the group stages. So it'll be interesting to see how the managers change it, but I think it'll definitely dictate on how the game's going.
It definitely will do indeed. So that is a look at the substitutes bench, of course, as we said before. On the bottom of the screen, you'll see all the games going on tonight. We'll keep you up to date with those games as the goals do go in. And tell us in the chat, if you're not watching this game, what game are you watching tonight? And if you're a Rangers fan, it'd be nice to put your score predictions in the chat, because that's exactly the question I'm going to ask you now, Kieran. Now, score predictions, because I think this is a bloody tough game to predict.
It is, and the thing is, I fancy this Rangers side this year. I fancied them last year in Europe, and I think I do this year as well. Beat Standard Liège, that's a tough test for anybody. And they've done the Portuguese trifecta now. They faced Porto last year, they faced Braga last year, so why not Benfica? Take them and conquer them as well. But I think I'm going to go with 1-1.
A 1-1 draw, interesting indeed. I think there'll be a few Rangers fans that'd be happy with that tonight. It's such a tough one to predict, because I feel like Rangers, we've seen them before, in fact. Looking at the team right now, BT Sport is saying Kamara as a right winger, but I think, as you said, Kieran, they'll change it up slightly. I do think Rangers could win this game. You know, we have to look back last season at the fact that Rangers got a very good result against Porto, of course, which is an incredible result for them. And this Benfica side, although they're very good on their day, there's a reason why they're in the Europa League. They struggle to make it through their Champions League playoff fixtures. And when you look at that back line, the likes of Otamendi and Vertonghen, they're getting on a little bit. Do you think there's a potential opportunity for the likes of Ryan Kent and Kamara and Morelos to exploit that back line? Definitely
so. If I was them, I'd target Otamendi. We know what he's like. He's very pragmatic. He likes to dive into challenges, you know. And if you're a Rangers fan, you could probably see the potential for a red card in that position. And Vertonghen doesn't quite have the legs he used to. But for me, that is a strong head in that Benfica back line and a lot of experience that they can rely on. But it'll be interesting, because it's not the most reliable when you've got Otamendi. He's a good player, but he has also got that streak of clumsy playmaking.
He does indeed. If you are new to the stream, as always, do leave a like and a subscription for you Rangers fans. I know there's quite a few of you in here right now. We do tend to do quite a lot of actually Scottish games quite recently. We did the Old Firm, of course we did a game of Celtics last 2 weeks ago. We've got the Rangers game now, so do keep up to date and subscribe to the channel, because we've got plenty more content to come over the next few weeks. But the game is about to kick off. We're going to keep you up to date with this game specifically tonight. You'll see on the bottom of the screen over the night, of course, the goals getting updated in terms of the 5:55 PM kickoffs. But the ball is rolling, and we are underway in this game between Benfica and Rangers. I didn't technically make my prediction, so I'm going to go 2-2 draw. I'm going to go for a draw as well, but I think there'll be goals tonight, and hopefully we get some good action indeed. And of course, as we said, we'll keep you up to date with all of those games going on in the background as well. So we should have the timer on our screen in just a moment's time. Once again, for those of you that have just joined the stream, we might be a little bit delayed in terms of our stream in comparison to the game that you'll be watching, so try not to spoil any of the action going on. But one man to talk about, of course, in fact 2 people to talk about, the managers as well. Jorge Jesus, an incredibly experienced manager, not just in South American football but in European football as well. Just how important could a tactical genius, as he's been called by many managers in the past, be to this Benfica side as they come forward here with the first chance of the game? They're already in the box. This could be a really good chance, and it's already a goal after 1 minute. It's 1-0 Benfica.
It is an own goal by Philip Hollander. It was Rafa down the right hand side. We know how pace he is. We know he likes to drive at players, and Rangers just didn't clear the lines. and Rafa was driving into the box. He went to square it to a teammate, but he found the foot of Philip Hollander. Not much he could have done about it, to be fair, but the worst possible start for the Rangers team. You have to clear your lines on these big European nights. And it's not Philip Hollander, it's Connor Goldson. Rafa went past Philip Hollander before squaring it into the box, where Connor Goldson sadly tapped into his own net. What a start for Benfica.
What a start indeed. It's the first attack of the game, as you said. He's such a quick player on his day, Rafa, and you can see Gerrard looking fairly comfortable. I think the most important thing, which is a very common saying in football, is best to concede 2 minutes into the start rather than 2 minutes into the end. Although here, Benfica are coming forward again, and they look really sloppy at the back right now, Rangers, in these first 2 minutes.
Yeah, looking very nervy, giving away balls that, simple passes that should be connecting with their man. Sadly, at the moment, it's connecting with Benfica, and that is what has led to this awful, awful start. As Cluj have had an awful start as well. Roma have took the lead against Cluj.
They have indeed, and the goal scorer in that game for Roma is Henrik Mkhitaryan. 1 minute on the clock there, first chance of the game, just like it has been in this Rangers match, and Roma have the lead, so of course we will keep you updated with the scores as they go in, but as we said here,
and
Rangers
they're in behind
very
again.
Shaky at the back.
Rafa is one-on-one with Philip Hollander again. He's dispatched it to the left-hand side. There's an overlapping run, but he ignores it. A lot of play around this Rangers box to start off with, Josh.
Definitely indeed, and you can see in this match so far that Benfica, they've come out on the front foot. The important thing for them was get a goal nice and early in this game, put the pressure on the away side. They've got that goal within it was about a minute, maybe a little bit more than a minute, and it's an incredible start to this game. And you went for a 1-1 prediction in this match. With the way this game started off, we could have easily had 2 or 3 in the first 3 minutes. It's scary.
Yeah, this backline has not been able to deal with Rafa's movement so far this game, and how important will that be? And they are again forward. Seferovic holds up the ball well. He's still got it though, and he's dispatched it to the left-hand side. Rangers cannot clear their lines. It is waves of attack from Benfica to start this fixture off. Who'd have thought?
Who would have thought? I mean, it's a very good start indeed. And talking about good starts, we've had another goal elsewhere. Granada, of course, the Spanish side, have taken the lead after 4 minutes in their game against AC Omonia. Former Manchester City midfielder Yangel Herrera with the goal in that game. And we're getting a few nice early goals in these fixtures, as we have another goal as well. Leverkusen, of course, taking on Hapoel Beersheva, have taken the lead in their game. So it is 1-0 Leverkusen in that match, of course. Tonight, we're not doing a goal show as we usually do it in the Champions League. We're doing it tonight, of course. We've got our main game, which Rangers have a chance to potentially attack.
Yeah, Joe Aribo has took a man on down the left. His ball into the box is cleared by the defender. A bit of a dodgy clearance, but they just didn't have the men in the box. When Benfica go forward, they've got numerous men in the box. But when Rangers went forward there, just one. Morelos cutting a very lonely figure up the top of the pitch there. And Rafa's down at the moment after a collision with Glenn Kamara, as he appears to have took a flailing arm to the face. Not much in that.
Yeah, not much in that at all. He kind of makes a bit of a meal out of it, but he should be all right. And as we said a moment ago, of course, Leverkusen 1-0 up in their game against Hapoel Beersheva. It was Leon Bailey in the 5th minute of that match who's got a nice early goal. So lots of early goals to start us off here. We're just seeing the replay now, of course, of the goal. There's not much Connor Goldson could have done in that situation.
No, not really. The ball was hit in with pace, Ideally, he wants his body shaped a little bit differently to stop preventing that own goal, but a bit of a shame. But Rangers have nicked the ball up in a high position. It's with Joe Aribo again, who's kind of had the only mini flurry for this Rangers team so far, but it's cleared for a throw-in for Benfica. They need to get a foothold in this game.
They definitely do indeed. Sasha's in the stream, says, hello, how are you guys? Hope you're all good as always, Sasha. And he says, go Benfica, go. Well, what a start for Benfica, of course. 5 minutes on the clock, and already got a goal in this game, but it's nice to see you in the stream as always, buddy. And then Carl Middleton is in the stream as always. He says, hi guys, watch the Rapid VN Dundalk game. Wishing Dundalk a good match tonight. Yeah,
I think Dundalk's our kind of Cinderella little team. We all have a guilty pleasure for Dundalk. We want them to do great because, we like to see them. We were cheering them on all throughout the playoffs. We wondered if they were going to get here, and now they are. We just want them to have a good time.
We do indeed, and of course, fingers crossed they can do quite well, but we've got Rangers currently trying to get forward here, and it's Alfredo Morelos on the wing trying to just get around this Benfica defence. And of course, we've looked at the names that Benfica have got. Yes, they are getting on and they're getting old, but as you said, a player like Vertonghen is going to be incredibly crucial to this Benfica backline in terms of his knowledge and experience in the game.
Yeah, this is it. You can put some younger players around him because he's going to lead that line. at the back very well, and we've seen it for numerous years alongside Alderweireld. They can strike a partnership. Will he have that with Otamendi? I don't think so, but he can teach the full-backs as well, to stay in line. As Aribo is down on this right, he's trying to take on his man, but he can never get past him at the moment. Really, really bad start for Rangers, I would say.
Very sloppy indeed. It's the worst possible start in any game to go 1-0 down, and they've got to get a foothold in this match because Benfica, they're a tough side, and when you look at the team on paper, as I said, there's a reason why they're down here. But you also look at the team and you think, well, that is a Champions League level squad in terms of the attack and the midfield, and maybe not necessarily the defence that they've got, but a player like Vertonghen would have expected to have been playing Champions League football, and I think they've rode out the storm here, Rangers, in that first couple of minutes. There was the first 5 minutes, there was a flurry of attacks from the home side, and they seem to have weathered that period out, but we know that this Benfica team could be very, very dangerous in terms of the attacking just talents that they've got up top in the likes of Everton, and most importantly Rafa, who of course contributed to the first goal.
Yeah, he was the star man so far this evening for Benfica, and we're only 7.5 minutes in, and he's already kind of been dictating what happens in the attacking third for Benfica. For Rangers, I think you don't have to push for an equaliser straight away. I think just getting a foothold in the game and starting to create your own chances would be a good start, as legendary Dundalk have took the lead.
Patrick Hoban in the 7th minute. We talked about him earlier, of course, the Irish side doing incredibly well to make it through into the Europa League. They've taken a 1-0 lead against Rapid Vienna, and what a start for Dundalk, of course. It's going to be interesting to see how they do in the rest of this competition. Of course, they took on Arsenal last week and unfortunately didn't get anything out of this game, but they're taking a nice early lead in their match, and of course, Carl, you're watching that game. You must be delighted for them right now, because when you actually look at the group itself, as it currently stands, Dundalk, they are bottom, but of course they will go up into third place as it currently stands, and it's quite an even group right now in terms of how that one is panned out. But a few nice early goals in these games, of course. You can see on the bottom of your screen as we've currently had so far. Benfica, Rapid Vienna, of course, conceded to Dundalk early on. Roma have scored as well, and Leverkusen all getting early goals in this first 10 minutes. But 8 minutes on the clock here, and it's Rangers with a bit of possession on the ball right now, Kieran.
Yeah, definitely a change of shape by Rangers. They are going with Joe Aribo on the right, as we presumed. Unfortunately, Glenn Kamara, not the enigmatic winger you want him to be. But they're trying to get in a few nice players. There was a chance where Morelos was in behind, but he fouled.
It's a really good ball from Steven Davis there.
He did, and Tavernier's done very well to chip it over Otamendi. It will go out for a corner. So first set piece of the game for Rangers. But yeah, Morelos was in behind, but he ended up fouling Otamendi. Them personalities coming up against each other. Very interesting matchup if you're Morelos and Otamendi tonight.
It will be indeed, and it was a really good long ball from Steven Davis onto the right hand side to Tavernier, and this is a good chance for Rangers to get a goal back in this game, and it's going to be lofted into the box by Tavernier, who got that corner a moment ago, but it's not the most convincing defending from Benfica there, but they are on the counter-attack here, and could they maybe make it 2-0? We'll have to find out.
Everton's breaking on the left. The ball to him is overhit, but there is still 3 men in the box as he's found on the edge of the box. It's struck across goal, and I'm pretty sure that was Pizzi with a left-footed strike across the goal.
And that was a very nervy moment there in terms of Benfica coming forward. As you said, the pass was a little bit too overhit, and Everton does very well indeed, and well, Pizzi, he does take on that shot. It's quite an awkward angle, to be honest with you, for that to go into the back of the net. But he nearly does impressively well to roll it to the right post, and it very nearly went into the back of the net.
He did. He shot across McGregor, and for a moment I thought it was him personally, but it did appear that he just mishit. Pizzi's got the talent to definitely get that on target. But a little bit of a let-off for Rangers, who got caught on a counter from the Benfica attack, and you saw Man United's shape yesterday from a set piece when they lost the ball. If you're Rangers, you need to make sure that doesn't happen again, because they looked very, very dangerous when going forward.
Absolutely, and I think the thing is with a team like Rangers, of course, they will expect tonight to probably be the side with least amount of possession and opportunities, so you wouldn't expect them to put up as much as a high line, although there is a good chance here for Benfica to come forward, and it's really good work there from Pizzi. What can he do? Trying to chip a ball into the box, and he's going to go out for a corner. And once again, we just talked a moment ago about Rangers defending. That was very nearly a good chance for the home side to make it 2-0.
Yeah, they're in behind again. What a pass by Everton.
Just onside as well.
From the centre of the field, he bends the ball in behind Philip Olander. You're right, Pizzi is onside. He hasn't got the pace as Rafa does, but he does try to get a ball into the box. It does hit the chest of Olander. And now Pizzi's on a set piece for Benfica. We know Otamendi can win a header. We've seen that most of the time in a derby, actually.
And Seferovic as well. Usually quite a good play to get on the ball. It's lofted into the box, and eventually it is going to go out of play. A good bit defending there from Connor Goldson just to be able to head the ball away. But just very quickly looking in terms of the updates on the goals, there's been a goal elsewhere. Sivasspor in the Turkish division, of course, first time they've been in the Europa League. Very impressive start, in fact, for them. 1-0 up against Karabag. Of course, you'd probably expect them to try and get out a win tonight. Although, when you look at the possession, they're on the back foot right now. But, of course, they won't mind. They're 1-0 up indeed. And interesting goal on the day so far. It makes things a little bit interesting here. Hapoel Beersheva have equalised against Leverkusen. Of course, we said a moment ago that Leverkusen had taken an early lead in that game away from home, but Hapoel, they've got back into the match here. It's 1-1, and it's a goal from Elton Akalaste. So I think they'll be delighted indeed, because that's their first chance of the game. 1-1 after 15 minutes. Are we on for a shock of the night?
And Tottenham have took the lead as well against Ludogorets. They've got their first goal of the evening. You know, there's so many fixtures in the Europa League, you can barely keep your eye out on any of them before you see you don't remember who's already scored and who's not. So we're trying our best. Please bear with us. As the rain is pouring in Portugal, as it did in Lech Poznan, it seems that the Scottish weather follows Rangers wherever they go.
We've got a shot goal elsewhere. Rijeka have taken a 1-0 lead against Napoli. Well, we just looked a moment ago. Sash had put Rijeka have no chance against Napoli. They are 1-0 up as it currently stands. Goal a moment ago from Robert Muric in the 13th minute to put them in the lead, of course. They've had more chances in that game, but less possession. And then, as you said a moment ago, of course, Kieran, being a goal in that game for Tottenham, 1-0 up. Harry Kane, as you would expect, banging in the goals right now and just on fire for Spurs, has put his side into a 1-0 lead. And Lech Poznan as well have just taken a lead in their game against Standard Liège, of course, 1-0 in that match. They are the two teams in this group, and that should make things very interesting indeed. But 13 minutes on the clock right now in this match. How are things going for Benfica in these last few moments?
Benfica have had the better of the possession, as you'd probably expect from the home team. I think lots of the attacking players from Rangers having to sit back at the moment. You know, Ken deep in his own half, Aribo deep in his own half. One out ball, and that's Alfredo Morelos. But they aren't getting the ball up to him just yet, and Benfica have been much the better side. But you hope Rangers can build something, as they've got a little bit of possession in the midfield between Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara. And Kamara's long ball finds Morelos.
It's a really good ball indeed. And Morelos is just outside of the box. He's going to lay off a ball into the path of, I think it was
Ken, I think.
Ken, who was just towards the edge of the box there, and it just didn't unfortunately get to him. But that ball, I think it was from Davies, who did the switch of play to the right hand side. Really good cross into Alfredo Morelos, and we've seen it once or twice now where Davies has been doing the long balls onto the wing, and it's kind of worked a little bit for Rangers so far, but they just don't seem to be getting that first real major chance on goal to up the spirits of the away side.
Well, that's the thing. You've got Alfredo Morelos moving into the channels, which is fine, but you need midfield runners if you're going to do that. You know, you need someone in that box. It's no good Morelos being on the right wing and having to do it all himself. The ball to the edge of the box to Kent wasn't great, and he couldn't quite control it. But Rangers have calmed the tempo down a little bit. Benfica still look the more dangerous team, but much better from the Scottish side. We
have indeed, and there's been another goal elsewhere. Rowan will be absolutely delighted right now because Slavia Prague, who of course beat Leverkusen last week in their fixture, have just taken a 1-0 lead against OGC Nice in their game, and it's Jan Kučka who's got the goal in that game. So about 15 minutes into that one, 1-0 to Slavia Prague. They'll be delighted, of course, in that match because they've had quite a decent start to their campaign. And a quick question for you, of course, not about this game. Sasha's asked, how do you think Mourinho will fare today? Of course, Spurs already 1-0 up in their match against Ludogorets.
Well, I think it was a wake-up call last week against Antwerp that you can't rest everyone and expect the same results. So I think he's had to bring in the likes of Harry Kane today, and he's had to put some of the more experienced players in because last week was terrible for Spurs. And now I think he'll fare pretty well today. Ludogorets not as good as Royal Antwerp, but still, because they've got the bigger players on the pitch, hopefully they can get a 3-0 lead and rest them for the weekend's game.
That's what Spurs fans will be hoping for. Apparently, Rowan's asked, have they taken a lead, Slavia Prague? Well, according to what we're looking at in terms of the stats and that, they've got a 1-0 lead right now against Nice.
Are you watching the game?
I don't know whether you're watching the game or not, Rowan, but they've taken the lead. And then Sasha did ask about your jersey being a Hull City jersey.
Yes, what about it?
I think he just asked, was it a Hull City jersey that you got on?
Yes, mate, it was. It's sadly, I wear it with pride.
Sadly, wear it with pride. Oh, it's still 1-0 here as it currently stands between Benfica and Rangers. Nice early start to this game, of course. Benfica scoring in the first minute of this match, and hopefully it doesn't take wind out of the sails and that be the only goal of the game. But a really sloppy pass there from Stephen Davies puts the ball out of play. Really sloppy from Rangers here,
which you don't expect from a man of his calibre and experience. He's he's an old head in that Rangers midfield, but he's not really going to make it with that play as it's to the edge of the box, and miscommunication by Everton and Seferovic from the pulled back ball, and sadly they both get on each other's way and nothing comes of it, and Rangers can come away with the ball.
They can indeed. Apparently, Rowan says he's watching it. They haven't taken a lead. Well, I've just checked on two sources now. They're both saying that they've taken a lead. I don't know whether your stream is quite far behind or whether it's just a phantom goal that both websites have put. But who knows? Who knows? But right now, Benfica just on the ball, just past the halfway line here, and it's a good opportunity for Benfica maybe just to calm it down a little bit, because obviously, since that goal, they've had a few flurries forward. Although they are going to come forward now, it's Seferovic just at the edge of the box, and he tries to lay off the ball onto the left wing, and it's just a little bit too heavy and goes straight into the path of McGregor.
Yeah, Seferovic nicked the ball off Ryan Jack in the midfield, really sloppy from the Scottish midfielder, and Benfica will be happy. They're winning the ball back high. They're forcing this Rangers team into mistakes, and that's exactly what they want. And thank you very much, Sasha.
Absolutely, indeed. They've got to press Rangers high in this game. Try and get a couple more goals. I think if you want to make if you want to put a marker down, this could be a great time to do so indeed. And of course, we've said at the beginning of the show, of course, Rangers unbeaten pretty much for the majority of this season. In fact, I think they're just unbeaten since the return of the season. And there's a long ball here, and it could be a good chance for the Rangers to come forward. And the referee's going to have to stop here because Ryan Kent has gone down. And I don't know whether he's going to give a red card here. And he has indeed. It's a red card to Benfica. Otamendi, reckless decision there from the centre-back, and he's sent off.
It's a long ball over the top for Ryan Kent to chase. They've been looking for it all night. And he is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And I don't know, you'll remember, because I said to you at the start of the game, Rangers will see a red card in him tonight. And I don't... he is onside. He is.
Just onside.
He's just onside. And he's bearing down on goal and Vlachodimos. And Otamendi drags back at him. And I think he trips him up. He trips him up. Reckless decision from an experienced centre-back. You know what you're getting with Nicolas Otamendi, and usually it's decisions like that. For me, that is exactly what I told you was going to happen at the start of the game.
It's very reckless indeed, and you can see him going down the tunnel now. Otamendi, it's a stupid decision from him. We saw something very similar last night, actually, in the Sevilla Krasnodar game in the Champions League. It was Jesus Navas who denied a goal-scoring chance in one of the games. And it was just very, very reckless indeed in terms of how he's gone in there. Benfica are 1-0 up, but Rangers now have to think that they've got a great chance to get back into this game.
Yeah, this is a massive opportunity. You will not get a better chance to beat this Benfica side. This is the type of luck you need if you're under the cosh for the opening 20 minutes, which they have been. I cannot believe Otamendi's done that. There was no need to do it. I think Vlachodimos, would have had it relatively covered. It was a bouncing ball. It was difficult to control. And now the free kick just on the edge of the box. James Tavernier probably going to be the one that sings it, but Borna Barisic is over it as well.
Well, there's the two full-backs standing over it. Tavernier is going to take it on and it hits the wall. And, well, they're going to try and get it back into play here. A ball lofted towards Ryan Kent, and he's just gone out of play. And it's going to go for a goal kick. But they've had... the first 20 minutes, it was all pretty much Benfica. They had loads of possession, lots of opportunities, and it's very, very reckless from Otamendi. And as you would expect here, Benfica obviously making an immediate change, and somebody unfortunately has to come off. And it's, of all people, bringing off Pizzi 20 minutes in here, Jardel coming off. I think that's a shocking decision in terms of bringing him off.
It's a very, very strange one for me. I mean, maybe because there was a 3 in midfield and Pizzi was the most attacking of the current 3 in midfield, you know, maybe they're already thinking secure what we've already got. I feel sorry for Pizzi, of course, but he was the most offensive of the 3 centre midfielders. So, I mean, he's an experienced player that can create things, but in terms of attacking wise, I think it's sadly the decision that had to be made.
I mean, the good thing is sometimes when players get sent off and somebody comes off, they get a little bit frustrated and pissed off, I think, to put it nicely. But he looks all right there, Pizzi, of course. So you understand in this situation in terms of somebody's going to have to come off with it being a defender. But it's reckless, it's erratic, it's stupidity from a man where we've seen him make stupid decisions time on time again when he was at Manchester City. And really reckless indeed. And it means that this game is going to be quite interesting for the next 70 minutes because there's a long ball from Tavernier towards Morelos. He's just offside. And we can have a break here because there's been a goal elsewhere. PSV Eindhoven have taken a 1-0 lead against PAOK. Aaron Zahavi with a penalty put into the back of the net in that game. And then just look at the chat as well. Kyle's put, Otamendi is an awful defender. Not surprised he got sent off. Come on, Rangers. You have to win now.
Well, that is the thing. This is the best opportunity they're going to have. And they will now be able to dictate the play. It'll be now Benfica that will be on the counter-attack. It'll be completely flip reverse from the opening 20 minutes of the game. And, you know, as we said earlier, these are the nights you have to capitalise on. Because you look at last night, that would have been it for Krasnodar. When Sevilla went down to 10 men, they'd have thought, oh, we've got to win this game now. And sadly, they couldn't. But Benfica really under the cosh now. And I think it'll be waves of attacks. But you've got to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's all that matters.
And that's the crucial thing because you still look at this Rangers Benfica attack. They've got some very good plays that could hit you on the break. Or the Rangers have got a good chance to come forward here, and it's a ball that's going to be lofted into the box from the right wing, and it's a really poor cross into the box. But eventually, it's cleared away by one of the youngsters, I think Goncalves, who's currently having a nosebleed. And Rangers got a corner.
Yeah, it's Julian Weigl, that one. He's got a. I don't know where that's come from because I never saw him go off and get.
Neither did I, to be honest. I don't know where that's come from, but we have had another goal elsewhere, and Roma have taken a 2-0 lead against Cluj in their game, so a good start indeed. But Rangers just coming forward here in their game.
They are, and Tavernier has managed to break the defensive line. He's going to square it into the box. It's an own goal!
It's smashed in by Goncalves. Well, it wasn't him a moment ago that I wanted to talk about, and we have had another own goal. It's 1-1 in this game, and just as when we said Rangers had to get a goal back, another own goal.
It's almost immediate. It's a lovely ball in behind the fullback for James Tavernier, who is so attacking for Rangers. And like Connor Goldson, there's not much you could do about it. I'm sorry, but for me, Goncalves has to be doing better. He sliced it and diced it into his own net.
Oh, it's poor. It really is poor. And it's in a position where that has to be cleared. Yeah. It has to be.
It has to be cleared. And I tell you what, this has been a defensive horror show so far.
Which is not bad for the neutral because it makes for a very good game indeed, and it's actually Benfica coming forward straight away, and there was a ball that was trying to be lofted into the path of Seferovic there, and I think it was actually Julian Weigl trying to push forward there, but God knows what's going to happen in this game because they both look shocking at the back.
I've got absolutely no idea. As Nuno Tavares gets in front of James Tavernier, could have gone from 0 to 0 there, but how important is James Tavernier to Rangers? You know, he offers so many goals. He's great on set pieces. He is a mainstay. As Morelos has broke the defensive line again. There's 3 joining him. It's switched the play to Joe Aribo on the left-hand side. There's an overlapping run by Borna Barisic. He ignores it. Strikes a goal.
It's in! Rangers have done it! They've turned it around.
Glenn Kamara has scored. He's not on the right wing. He's in the centre of the park. And how important is that now? It was Morelos down the right in acres of space. Great switch of play. He found Glenn Kamara. There was an overlapping run by Barisic. Dragged the defender to the left. Hits it with his right. It's 2-1 to Rangers, Josh. Not Benfica.
It is indeed. And well, I mean, it proves how reckless the decision was early from Otamendi to get sent off, and it's cost them big time. And it's a lovely finish into the back of the net, you have to admit. And just like that, they've got that extra man advantage now. They've got the lead in this game. You have to say they've got to go forward and try and stick a few more in. Because, as I said earlier, Benfica, they've got a very good attack. But this is a really good opportunity now. We were saying earlier about Benfica putting a marker down. It's now a great chance for Rangers to put a marker down.
Exactly. And is there any more is there another thing that epitomises changing a game like that? The moment the red card happened, it has been all Rangers ever since, and that is how quickly a game can change.
It can indeed, and while we've got a moment to breathe in this game, because it has been a fantastic start to this match, with 3 goals in 25 minutes, what a start. There's been some goals elsewhere, of course, updating them as we go along in this stream. Rapid Vienna have just equalised a moment ago against Dundalk. Dejan Lubcevic with the goal in that game, so 1-1 between those two sides. Of course, I said a moment ago, Roma taking a 2-0 lead. Rodrigo Ibanez, the centre-back, scored in that game for Roma, so they're 2-0 up against Cluj. Of course, Rangers a moment ago scoring in their game against Benfica, as we're currently watching right now. Lech Poznan, the other teams in the group, of course, Lech Poznan, Standard Liège. Poznan 2-0 up against Liège. Mikael Ishak with a goal a couple of minutes ago. And then another shot potentially on the night here. Hapoel Beersheva, a 2-1 up against Leverkusen, and Elton has his second goal in that game. We could be on for a potential shock tonight in terms of the result there, but a few goals flying across the board here. But of course, in this match right now, as it currently stands between the two sides, Benfica 1, Rangers 2. What a start to this game.
Yeah, what an unbelievable first 25 minutes. If you'd have said this would be the scoreline after 15 minutes, I'd have said you're lying to yourself, because Rangers were not in the game. And Benfica are trying to get their flurry forwards in spells, and it's Rafa again with a lovely flick to Everton.
Doing really well indeed.
It's so hard with only having 10 men to try and create space between these lines, because Rangers can sit back now. They've got that extra man and they can dictate the play as Tavernier goes long with a ball to Ryan Kent, which he'll chase all day.
Chorimos is going to come out here though, and he's going to have to clear his lines, and well, you can quite clearly see here that the long ball tactic has worked really well. I mean, Sasha's saying Rangers a little help from the referee. I have to disagree with you on that one, Sasha.
It's difficult because I understand there's not much contact there at all. There really isn't. But he is 1-on-1. Is it a goal scoring opportunity? Yes. Would it have been a difficult goal scoring opportunity? Of course, you would have had to chip the keeper, but you never got the chance to see it, because we'd have to see if he tripped him or he pulled him, because to me it did look like he did get a bit of the arm and a bit of the leg as well. So I understand the referee's decision. It's not an egregious one for me. I understand it.
No. I guess in that respect, you can say it's understandable as to why some people are questioning it. I think it's the right decision, because it is one of those awkward ones where I think he does get a slight connection, and he makes it impossible for Kent to get a touch on the ball, and in that situation, he would be 1-on-1 with Chorimos. So I think it's the right decision in the end. Whether people agree or disagree in the chat, you'll have to tell us, of course, whether you think it was the right decision for Ottoman 2% off.
That's what makes refereeing so hard. It's very subjective. What we think is a foul, other people won't think is a foul, and that's what makes VAR. That's what VAR was brought in for, to make these subjective decisions more clear for both the officials and the people at home as well. No VAR in the Europa League. Would they have overturned that? You never know.
I mean, potentially. I think it's very frustrating. They haven't got VAR in the Europa League. Really, really frustrating, because a competition like this, which is a very big competition indeed, it has to have VAR. But we've had another goal elsewhere. This has been another fantastic game in the group. Standard Liège have got one back. Maxime Lestion, a very recognisable name to Belgian fans, of course, over the last couple of years. Got a goal back for Standard Liège, and it means that both of these games in the groups are the most interesting games on the night in terms of goals right now. Yeah,
of course. Another interesting match is Hapoel Beersheva versus Leverkusen. They've managed to turn that around and come from behind. As Everton's on the edge of the box, he's managed to dribble past one. Goes down very softly there for me, and luckily the ref didn't buy it either. Rain is pouring in Portugal right now, and hopefully that doesn't affect Rangers' build-up play too much, because against Lech Poznan it got very sloppy very quickly because of the state of the pitch. But Barisic will get the crossing towards the edge, and it'll be cleared by Vertonghen, who really has to be an experienced head of a back four now.
He does indeed. He has to be the experienced man that leads them, and it's Ryan Kent coming down this left-hand side here. He's going to try and trickle his way past the defenders. A ball is being lofted in by Barisic, and he's just wide of the mark, and it was Joe Aribo with the header, not necessarily towards the left-hand side of the post, just in the middle of the box, and if that was Morelos, you'd have probably said that was going in the back of the net.
Yeah, Borna Barisic with a wonderful ball into the box. And for me, Aribo, he gets full contact. He's just misdirected it. He's gone a little bit too far from the back post. But again, another brilliant opportunity for Rangers. And if it wasn't 11v10. I'd say they have to make them pay, but I think they'll have plenty of opportunities now tonight.
Absolutely, indeed. If you've enjoyed the stream so far, do leave a like and a subscription. As always, we've got plenty more watch-alongs to come in the Europa League and across European football. Kenny Hamilton's in the chat. How are you doing, buddy? Hope you're all good. He says 2-1, and Morelos is yet to score. Come away, the girls, of course. I mean, fantastic start for this game for Rangers, and well, whatever. Fantastic start for Rangers, of course, and well, what a game this has turned out to be.
Yeah, definitely. And as he says, if
you're on the Jers,
if you're a Rangers fan,
come on the Germs.
I only know that because of my stepbrother. That's the only reason I know that's the thing. But if you're a Rangers fan, you'll be happy with this. You know, yes, it's a little bit fortunate, the red card, that's fine. But you've got to make it count. You've still got to put the ball in the back of the net, or you've got to ask their centre-back to do it for you.
And the thing is, to be honest, it's a deserved red card. It was a deserved red card. The important thing is, of course, with every single chance that's been given, where a player's been taken down in potential one-on-one position, as we said earlier, you never get to see what would have happened in terms of whether it would have been a goal or not. In that situation, yes, the ball was heavy towards Kent, and whether he was going to be able to get a good enough touch on the ball or not, I don't know. But end of the day, he would have been one-on-one with the keeper. So it's the right decision at the end of the day, in my opinion. But we've got a few more goals elsewhere as things have gone a little bit more quiet here. Spurs, they've taken a 2-0 lead now against Ludogorets, and it's a goal from Lucas Moura in that game. So 2 goals in just under 20 minutes for the away side. And then there has been a goal in the game between Slavia Prague and Nice. Nice have got one back in that game. Amin Guiri, who's been on fire right now for the French side, has got a goal in that game. So it's Slavia Prague 1, Nice 1, and Ludogorets 0, Tottenham 2.
And in this game, Benfica have won a throw-in very high up the field. Borna Barisic was trying to leave the ball to go out, but Goncalves had none of it, managed to nick the ball. And these are the chances. I think the set pieces are going to be crucial for Benfica tonight if they can get them. The dead ball situations are probably the best chance they've got, by only having 10 men. So very, very difficult, but these are the chances you've got to get.
Absolutely, indeed. And, you know, now it's role reverse, isn't it? We talked about in that first kind of 5 to 10 minutes, it was more about Rangers trying to sit there and counter-attack on Benfica. But now it is role reversal. Benfica are going to have to do what Rangers did in that first 10 or 15 minutes. It was the worst possible. It was the best possible start and the worst possible start for Benfica, which is crazy to say because we were talking, you know, in that 10-minute mark, thinking here, well, Benfica could have had 2 or 3, and now it's all about Rangers. Although we very nearly had a chance for Benfica to have a great opportunity from Severovic. Though,
yeah, Glenn Kamara getting a little bit overconfident in the midfield, and he almost had his pocket picked by Haris Severovic, the Swiss striker. But Rangers very, very happy now to just keep the ball and make sure things happen in this game on their terms. As Roma have taken a 3-0 lead there. Unbelievable game for them. Cluj not showing up tonight, really.
No, but then again, when you're playing at home, Roma, you would expect them to get a comprehensive result against a team like Cluj. But third goal, as Kieran said, gone there. Borja Mayoral with his first goal since signing for Roma in the Europa League so far. So very good start for him indeed. In the Europa League, and we just had a chance there a moment ago. Speculative effort, you could say.
Yeah, it was. It was Borna Barisic on the left-hand side, the fullback, much better at whipping crosses in than he is from shooting from range. It was on his right foot, so maybe I'll give him a pass because he's a left-back. But he took a hit from range, and it was never troubling. If Kodimos, it was probably troubling maybe row 7 or 8 there.
Yeah, and well, it might be a little bit I was about to say a little bit fucky, a little bit lucky that the fans were in the stadium because it was a bit of a powerful effort from Barisic there, but it was never really going to test. And I don't know why I was going to say a little bit fucky there because there's no fucking going on here in this game. But well, it could turn into a bit of a fucking here between Rangers and Benfica in terms of the scoreline. But
you've dragged it out well.
Yeah, I thought I'd try and save myself there. I was digging myself a hole, but we've got 10 minutes of action left here, and Benfica, of course, just kind of up against it right now with Rangers. And I think you would expect Gerrard here to say we need to try and get 3 or 4 in this match and really take it to Benfica, because I think there'll be a lot of Rangers fans, and if there are any Rangers fans in the stream, of course, I expect there to be quite a few, of course. I don't think there was many expecting them to beat Benfica tonight.
No, they'll be hopeful.
Yeah.
But of course, it wouldn't have been an expectation. But if you're Gerrard at the moment, you just say no silly mistakes. Don't throw this game away, because this game is now in your control. Whereas in the first 15 minutes, the game was completely passing them by. But that's how quickly a game of football can change, and that's why we love it.
Absolutely, indeed. It's incredible. We love football. That's why it's so special right now. But we've got a potential chance here from Tavares, who's got a chance just outside of the box. He's going to try and whip it in. He's slipped, of course. The Wet conditions right now are going to be a little bit of a handful for the players, but he's done really well to get the ball back here. Tavares going to lay a ball off into the middle, trying to get it towards the path of, I think it was Adel Taarabt there.
Yeah.
And not a very good effort there from the former QPR man.
Interesting they took off Taarabt over Pizzi. I've just thought about that then, and I'm just thinking, I know you said he's now adopted himself into a box-to-box midfielder, but I think Pizzi maybe could have dictated the game a little bit more than Adel Taarabt, but Jorge Jesus knows way more than me, so why am I even bothering?
Yeah, I guess it's one of those, Taarabt has adapted his game big time from what he used to be back in the day. We all know him for his time at QPR, the skillful, gifted player that he was as an attacking midfielder, could play as a striker sometimes, but he's changed his game up. He's now a bit more of a box-to-box midfielder. You don't tend to see that flair as much as we used to back in the day, which is expected. As a box-to-box midfielder, you can't sit there and do all the skills, but we've got a chance here for Rangers, so I'll talk about that in a moment. And it's going to be a ball that was trying to be lofted into the box, but it's going to go out for a corner here. Some defended there from Gonçalves, who has got to make up for the fact that he did score a pretty shoddy own goal about 10 or 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was a pretty horrific strike into his own net. But that's what kick-started this Rangers comeback, and they will say thank you very much to Gonçalves as the ball will be whipped in, I presume, by Borna Barisic, and it will. Can it find a head? It'll just find the gloves of Vlachodimos, and it'll be cleared.
Well, there was a little bit of a half effort there in terms of a volley, and the ball's been spread back up the pitch and straight into the hands of Vlachodimos. But Sasha's put in the try. He hopes Benfica wins. I think it's going to be a little bit tricky for them now in this game to fight back, but I think, once again, coming back to a game yesterday which had a very similar kind of outlay in how it's ran. Sevilla Krasnodar, Sevilla went down to 10 men just before half-time. They were 2-1 down in their game. They eventually went on to win the game
3-2.
3-2. Could we see something very similar tonight? I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't think we can, because, as I said, they've got quite a pretty strong team, Benfica, but to be down to 10 men is always going to make things 100 times harder for the home side here.
Yeah, and it's as we said, if Rangers just stay structurally good defensively, I think they'll be able to breeze through this last 50 or so minutes in this game, obviously including the time added on. But Benfica, they're trying to create things. I think they find it very difficult at the moment. Rangers have not allowed them to have any space. And it'll be interesting to see what happens as Adel Taarabt shrubs off a tackle from Joe Aribo and tries to build something.
There's a little bit of flair. That's what we like to see from the Moroccan. And there could be a good chance here for the home side to come forward. And, well, they've got to take their time now with opportunities, because that extra man advantage will come into play for Rangers. And it is sad to say, because when you look at the two wingers in Rafa and Everton, if this was 11v11, I think we'd get to see a little bit more tenacity and skill from the two players. But it does kill the game off a little bit for Benfica here. But we've had a goal elsewhere. Very quickly, what a game this has been between Hapoel Beersheva and Leverkusen. 2-2 now. Leverkusen get back into the game. An own goal from Ordagia. What a name that is, by the way.
Yeah.
38 minutes on the clock. 2-2 in this game. Very good start indeed in this match. And a very good start, of course, in this game in the first half.
Yeah, Rafa has actually been through-balled on the right-hand side, and this is his first opportunity since the red card, but he's whipping it into a box and no one can quite catch up with him. Neither Everton nor Seferovic were in the box awaiting that one there. Just, I feel a bit, as you say, it's not killed the game off, but it's definitely going to be a less competitive tie now.
Absolutely. We've got about 5.5 minutes left of this game, including a bit of additional time, which I think we'll get 1 or 2 minutes because of that red card, of course. And so far, 52% possession for Rangers, 48% for Benfica. They're doing quite well, in fact, to hold a bit of possession here, Benfica, because, you tend to expect the team with less men to concede a little bit more possession in this game. But Benfica looking quite alright structurally, but they are 2-1 down as Rangers try and push here to get another attack. And the ball is spread towards that left-hand side to Borna Barisic, who does very well to take it down. He's going to punt a ball into the box. There's a slight deflection from Gonçalves, and it's actually going to go straight into the hands of Vlachodimos. And we could have been very nearly saying another corner there. But a lot of players been down that left-hand side with Barisic so far and Kent.
It has, between the both teams, and obviously the goal from Kamara came from that left-hand side, and I guess from Gonçalves as well. He was playing on Rangers' left, Benfica's right, of course. But as you say, I don't think they've been able to keep possession, but they haven't created any chances yet, which is fair enough. I don't think now for Jorge Jesus it might just be kind of keep with what you've got almost, and don't let the goal difference become a factor towards the end of this group.
Exactly, because of course we've got the other games going on in the background tonight between the two sides, Standard Liège and Lech Poznan, and that's been a very good game so far. But there's a good chance here for Rangers to come forward, and eventually it is going to be given as an offside in the end. But it's been interesting because there's been another red card elsewhere. Granada, of course, playing against Ammonia tonight. They're down to 10 men. Michal Deri's been sent off, which means that Granada are in a very good position here to get a few more points. And with the way it currently stands in their group, they'll top it if they win against Ammonia in Group E alongside PSV in second. But as it stands right now, we've had goals in every game tonight, bar one, which is Real Sociedad versus AZ Alkmaar. But of course, we'll talk through the results at half time. But we've got about 4 minutes left here. Benfica 1, Rangers 2, and it could be another fantastic night in Portugal for Rangers.
Yeah, we said they're going on a little Portuguese tour. The only team they've not faced in the tournament, I think, is Rio Ave, who are only in it this year. So it would be nice if they both made it through and they got to tour a little bit more of Portugal. They'd have covered every corner at some point. But it is a foul by Borna Barisic on Haris Seferovic, which gives Benfica, if I believe, their first dead ball situation since the sending off, which proves how much the game's changed.
It has indeed, and well, of course, it was in the defensive half of play, so it's a little bit awkward for them to loft this into the box or anything, or take a shot on. But 3 more minutes left of this game here. Benfica just with a little bit of possession right now, just taking their time, and it does feel like this is probably going to end 2-1 at half time, unless Rangers can spur on one last opportunity before we hit half time here. But how much additional time do you think we're going to get? Because usually, I think in that situation, there could have been a case for that to be checked by VAR in terms of the offside, because it looked fairly close, but in the end Ken was onside. But I don't think we'll get a great deal of additional time.
I think 2 minutes at most, but I know in some of the European games we've had, as Tavares is breaking on the right, and we're questioning whether that's a foul, and the ref hasn't given it. It was between him and Jack. It was a 50-50. Jack got the better of it, but did he get the ball? We'll have to see. But I couldn't quite see, because it doesn't show us a replay on this one.
No, he doesn't, which is a real shame indeed. But we've had a few goals elsewhere across the board. Just updating the screen as we go along here, and you'll see in just a moment's time that Slavia Prague have taken a 2-1 lead against Nice. Of course, it's been a bit of a good run so far for the side in the competition, of course, beating Leverkusen last week, so they've got a goal back in that game and have taken the lead in their game. And then we've also had a goal elsewhere. Rijeka were currently 1-0 up against Napoli. They've been able to claw their way back into the game, Napoli, and it's 1-1. And looking at the goal scorers for the goals in the two games, for Napoli, goal was by Diego Dem of all people, which is not often a player you'd expect to get a goal in the game. And then the goal for Slavia Prague is Abdullah Sima for Slavia Prague. So they're 2-1 up against Nice, and as we said before, just a moment ago, that Napoli have clawed their way back in their game, so 1-1 between them and Rijeka. And did I just put, hi guys, I'm your new subscriber. How's it going? Thank you very much for subscribing, buddy.
Thank you very much, and it's going well so far. I think it's been a very entertaining game. I've been thoroughly enjoyed this 45 minutes. You know, since all that action within the first 25, it's kind of slowed down. But I hope you're well as well. Is it Duraj?
It is indeed Duraj. Oh, you're all good, buddy. Thank you very much for joining us. It's always very greatly appreciated indeed for the people that do join that are new. And if you have enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed, always try to leave a subscription if you have enjoyed it. Really greatly appreciate it. But we've got a corner here for Rangers.
Yep, it'll be Borna Barisic again on this left-hand side. Helanda challenges, I'm pretty sure, with Vertonghen, and it kind of peters out a little bit. Goes over the bar and nothing comes of it.
Yeah, Vlachodimos there just trying to take the goal kick very quickly and spur on a quick counter-attack for Benfica, but it doesn't come to anything. And Rona's put that the Nice goal was nice, by the way. Amine Giri's goal. I don't know whether that's just an intended pun or whether it was actually a nice goal in the end there. But of course, you'll be delighted, Rowan. Slavia Prague 2-1 up. And I tell you what, I know, of course, we've got this game going in the background, but Slavia Prague could get 2 very big wins indeed.
Yeah, it's strange that they couldn't beat Beersheva, but they can.
Mad.
But they can give as good as they got against Leverkusen. Another game where maybe the red card, which was questionable, helped the team. Kind of like this one, because I know Sasha doesn't agree, which is fair enough. But Barisic's ball on the left has gone all the way through, and it'll find Ryan Jack on the right-hand side. It'll be his turn to recycle. but it won't turn into anything, I don't think, unless...
I think Barisic might get this here.
Nah, Rafa gets there first.
Good little touch there from Rafa. We've got about 25 seconds left in this game. 1 minute of additional time was added on in this match, and of course... I think we'll be getting to half-time in the majority of the games now. Of course, we'll talk through the results in those games at half-time, talk through the... there's been a lot of goals, actually, in this first half of action. Not just in this game, but across the board. But Rangers could be forward here. There could be one last chance to potentially get attack, and the ball is going to be cleared out of the way for Benfica and cleared for a corner here. And this could be a really good chance, if the referee allows it to be taken, for Rangers to try and get a 3-1 lead before half-time.
Yeah, this is their possible final opportunity of the half. It'll be another corner, and again it will be taken by Borna Barisic, and his left-footed ball will find the man at the front post, and that is extremely poor, and that brings an end to the first half.
It does indeed, and half-time in what has been a very entertaining first 45 minutes between Benfica and Rangers, and as it currently stands, Rangers with a 2-1 lead in this game. It all started off with a goal in the first minute. From Benfica, it was a ball that was lofted into the box from Rafa. Connor Goldson just getting a bit of an awkward touch of the ball, and it bobbled into the back of the net to put the Portuguese side into a 1-0 lead. And then all of a sudden, about 15 minutes later, Otamendi with a very reckless tackle, which we'll talk about in a little bit, on Ryan Kent. It could have been a one-on-one situation, hence why the Argentinian former Manchester City defender does get sent off, and then that opened the doors for Rangers to get back into the game, didn't it, Kieran?
It did, and then from that it was the night of own goals, as a ball from James Tavernier on the right hand side was drilled across a low cross. Gonçalves sliced at the ball and lashed it into his own net. Very hard strike from the fullback. And then the pick of the bunch, because it wasn't hard, it was a switch by Alfredo Morales to the left hand side, where Glenn Kamara cut inside from the edge of the box onto his right foot, and he hit it towards the near post, wrong-footed Vlachodimos, the goalkeeper, and a really nice finish inside the near post to make it 2-1.
It's a very nice finish indeed. It is, of course, as we said, not really hard to say that's the best goal in this game so far. But it's been a very good match indeed. Of course, Benfica down to 10 men in this game. Rangers with the 2 goals up, as we said before. We'll talk about the first 45 in a moment in a little bit more detail, what Rangers have to do, what Benfica have to do, of course. But you can also see on the bottom of your screen right now the half-time scores across the board in the Europa League, and there has been a fair share amount of goals across the board tonight. So just looking, currently Hapoel Beersheva and Leverkusen, as it currently stands in that game, 2-2 between both sides. Hapoel doing really well in the Europa League so far, putting up a good test against some of the big sides in Europe.
Yeah, really difficult for Leverkusen to try and get a foothold, because the team that beat them last week, Slavia Prague, are 2-1 up against OGC Nice. Another shock result in that group.
Yeah, 2 of the underdogs doing very well there. I think you can say Slavia Prague being an underdog. POK 1-0 down to PSV, courtesy of Erin Zahavi penalty. Rijeka doing very well in their game, 1-1 currently against Napoli. On again, that's goalless on the night so far. Real Sociedad against AZ Alkmaar. Spurs 2-0 up against Ludogorets, courtesy of goals from Harry Kane and Lucas Moura. Roma scoring plenty of goals tonight against Cluj. They're 3-0 up in their game. They scored in the first minute as well, just like this match. And then Rapid Vienna 1, Dundalk 1, of course. I think there's a lot of people who are hoping Dundalk can try and get a few points on the board. And, well, if they can get a point on the board tonight, it'd be very good for them indeed.
Oh, it will. It'll be a beautiful moment for the guilty pleasure of the sports corner that is Dundalk.
I think there's a lot of people out there that are hoping they can get a few points indeed. And, well, it's 45 minutes left of action across the board. A few interesting results on the night, as we said before. Slavia Prague and Hapoel Beersheva currently doing quite well against 2 of the big teams in this competition, Leverkusen and Nice. Rijeka as well, 1-1 against Napoli, putting up a really good fight against them, although they're not having a great deal of possession. And, well, of course, I think you could say, for some people, Benfica and Rangers might be a little bit of a shock in terms of the result.
Yeah, I think if you looked at it on the face of it, you didn't know anything that was happening in the game. I think you would say that it's definitely a surprise, and as I think Gerrard just put, though, with the way the game's changed, I think Rangers do deserve the lead that they've got, because since the red card, it might be surprising to a few, but they've really dictated it since the red card, which, it happens when you've only got 10 men.
Exactly. There's going to be a lot more pressure on you as the away side Rangers, of course, come forward with that extra man advantage. But just before we talk about the rest of the game and still things to come on the channel, here's a look at what's to come. Of course, tomorrow we are starting our Bundesliga weekender. Werder Bremen and Cologne will live from 7 o'clock. I believe it might be 7:15, kick-off at 7:30 of that game, I believe. Saturday, Dortmund versus Bayern Munich, mammoth fixture in Germany. Be me and Rowan for that live from 5:15. And then Sunday, you've got the choice of 2 games going on. Manchester City taking on Liverpool from 4:15, kick-off at 4:30 of that game, and then we'll also be covering Bayer Leverkusen taking on Gladbach. That's from 4:45 kickoff at 5 p.m. of that game. And then when we hit the international break, we've got more watch-alongs to come. Euro 2020 playoff finals goals show, 12th of November, 7:30. Of course, we will know by the end of that night who is going to be in Euro 2020, as Kieran smiles at the picture of Josh McGuinness on the screen.
That was exactly what I was smiling at. I'll obviously be covering Northern Ireland because of my beloved Josh McGuinness. But it should be a lot of fun, and obviously the Bundesliga weekend are coming up. If you can, if you're in the stream today, I hope you can join us for that hold of weekend action. Because when we're in lockdown, there's not much else to do, so you might as well watch some football with us.
Absolutely, we've got plenty of watch-alongs to come over the next month, especially for those of you that are in lockdown in the UK right now. But loads of content to come. We've got that Manchester City-Liverpool game as well on Sunday, so do keep your eyes out. If you're on here, as always, do leave a like and a subscription. It is very, very greatly appreciated indeed. But if you've just joined us, of course, and you're wondering what has happened in this game so far, Rangers 2-1 up against Benfica. Benfica down to 10 men because of a pretty sloppy tackle from Otamendi. The real question is, what do Rangers have to do here? Because, of course, they've got the extra man advantage in this game. They're currently leading. What do?
I think they keep things very same. I don't think they need to go chasing a third goal. I know they'd like to, but they don't want to leave gaps at the back by pushing loads of men forward and then one counter-attack and your lead's gone. So for me, you have to stay structurally tight. I think everyone needs to stick to their role and know what they're doing. If you're going to go, make sure someone's sitting. So for me, Rangers, don't get carried away. Yes, you've got a man, but if you get complacent, Benfica can hurt you with the players that they have in the team. But if you're Benfica, Josh, what do you do if you're Benfica?
I mean, this is the tough question. I think that a lot of Benfica fans will be hoping Jorge Jesus can find an answer for, because, you know, right now you're going to have a lot more space open because of losing the defender. You've lost the man in midfield, of course, Pizzi coming off, which I think was an interesting decision to bring him off in this game. I think he's one of the more creative players that the side has got, and as we said before, we thought maybe someone like Tarat would come off, but looking to keep the box-to-box players there. But, you know, they started off very, very well indeed. You know, that first 10-minute spell that they had, there was a flurry of opportunities where we could have easily said they were 2 or 3-0 up really, really early on. But I think they have to sit and hit on the break. That's the best thing they can do right now, and I think they've got the 2 wingers, Everton on the left, and they've got Rafa on the right. We saw that pace and skill from Rafa with the first goal that went in. I think all they can do in this situation is try and hit on the break against Rangers, because it's going to be a very, very tough 45 minutes for the home side here. They are not going to have, I think, many chances in this game, and they have the players up top who can take them. I think Seferovic being one of those players who's very, very good on his day up top, but it could be a long 45 minutes here for Rangers.
Yeah,
not Rangers, Benfica.
Yeah, Seferovic might have to be crucial to kind of holding up the ball, and kind of, I feel like he'll be waiting, because I remember when Rafa got through on the right hand side, there was no one in the box with him, because admittedly the Benfica players they're not scared to go forward, but if they do, there is that extra man for Rangers, and you don't want this to become a rout. You really don't. So you kind of have to stick with what you've got now, and unfortunately for them, Otamendi's left them in a very difficult situation. He
has indeed. It's going to be tough for them. There's going to be a lot of space open, and it is going to be all down to that attack, I think, and it's going to be interesting to see what Jorge Jesus does, because we spoke at the beginning, you know, we know him as a very good manager. We've seen him before in Europe. We've seen him in South America when he was in Brazil, did very well at the Club World Cup to take his side all the way to the final, Flamengo, of course. And he's a very good mastermind on his day, but he's got a bit of a headache right now, I think, after that first 45 minutes of action. And we're just looking at the goal that they conceded, the first one, in fact. It was a really sloppy mistake from the back at Goncalves, who should have cleared the ball better in that situation.
He should have, but also you've got to give credit to James Tavernier, who does a wonderful run. Unlike, I remember watching a game the other night in Furland, Mendy was slow to get out. James Tavernier made sure he got himself on side before he darted in behind the full back and put a brilliant ball in. And the second goal from Glenn Kamara, just a really nice move.
It was indeed, and you can see him just outside of the box, and it's a lovely, lovely finish indeed. Just outside, takes the shot, and it's a low-driven effort that goes into the bottom left-hand corner. There's not much the Trottimos can do in this situation, and well, you can see the run from Barisic just draws out one of the Benfica players, makes it a little bit awkward for Trottimos obviously to know that Kamara's going to take on the shot. and two, for there not to be a great deal of space for Kamara to have that shot and take it on. And of course, as I said, Barisic draws out the player, the space opens up for him to take the shot, he does, and he puts it into the back of the net.
Yeah, it's what we said when the game was going on. We said the overlapping run by Barisic, it makes the fullback think twice. Does he follow and track the run? He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. He does neither in the end, and it just leaves a really nice finish for Glenn Kamara at the near post, as the second half should be up after this break.
Yeah, hopefully it should be a few more minutes until the second half indeed. And of course, while we do wait for that second half, a quick look at the substitutes bench, because of course we know in this game 5 substitutions can take place if needed. I think we will probably see a plethora of changes made by both sides across this game. So looking on the left hand side, of course we've already seen a change in this game for Benfica. Jardel, the veteran Brazilian centre back, coming on early on because of that red card from Otamendi. But a few players on the bench that we could see come on. Of course, we've got Grimaldo, the fullback, Waldschmidt, we've got Chervi, the Argentinian winger. Who do you see on that bench as somebody that could be a difference maker for Benfica in this next 45?
I think Chervi is probably one of the players who can make a little bit of a difference. You know, it depends where you're subbing him on, however, because sadly we haven't seen that much of Everton so far, so he can fill in on that left. Maybe Chiquinho for Adel Taarabt, because he's a bit more of a creative midfielder now. Obviously, that's what Taarabt used to be, but he's not anymore. But that you're sacrificing because you're leaving gaps. And then maybe Waldschmidt as probably the final one. I know you can have 5 in this tournament, but I'm looking on the bench and I see a lot of midfielders and defenders like Grimaldo, Gabriel, Ferro. They're all defenders and midfielders that I don't think will change the game massively.
No, not at all. I think, of course, the defensive options on the bench has actually come in handy tonight. Yeah. Not necessarily in the way that I think Jorge Jesus would have liked it to have been. But you can see, of course, the Rangers bench as well. We've got a plethora of changes that they could bring on in this game. Enis Hadji, Cedric Itten, and Kamara Roof and Brandon Barker, just named a couple of the attacking players. I think we will see Gerrard make a couple of changes, depending on what happens in the first 15 minutes. Who does he bring on in that situation? Because he's got a lot of attackers that could change the game up and maybe get a few more for the away side. I
think the one that immediately shouts to me is Yanis Hadji, because I think you can swap him with Ryan Jack. You just switch the roles around. The defensive midfielder Ryan Jack comes off. You bring Yanis Hadji on. You leave still got the 2 pivots in midfield of Davis and Glenn Kamara, and maybe you sub one of them off late in the game for maybe a Scott Arfield to kind of control it with a bit more experience. Maybe take off the likes of Joe Aribo and bring on Brandon Barker. Got a little bit more pace. And, you know, rest some of these players for your weekend games. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Kamara Roof come on for Alfredo Morelos at about the 65-70 minute mark.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that one. I think Kamara Roof could come on at some point in this game. Or maybe Cedric Itten as well might come on and rest some of the players. Of course, we know right now Rangers and, well, every team in European football and across the world has got a very hectic schedule right now in terms of fixtures. But if you can rest players at any point right now, you have to take that opportunity on. And I think if Rangers can get a goal within that first 10 or 15 minutes, make it 3-1, make it a lot more harder for Benfica to get back in this game, I do think they might start resting a couple of those big boys, of course, for their Scottish Premiership games, because, of course, we know they're unbeaten right now. They've had a fantastic start to the season and they've done incredibly well indeed. But just another quick look at the chat. Diraji says, I think Rangers deserve the win today, and I think we can agree with you so far. They've been really good in this match because of that extra man advantage. And then he's asked us a question about the Champions League. What do you think about Chelsea potentially being a candidate to win the Champions League?
I think they're not defensively strong enough. For me, for a Champions League winner, you have to be able... You know, we don't have to worry about every time the other team comes forward, because when Chelsea are playing a team, I do worry when teams are coming up against them. Yes, you've added Thiago Silva, really, really strong centre-back, and you've added Chilwell on the left, which has been a great signing so far. But for me, still question marks over that defence. But Edward Mendy's keeping clean sheets. Would I say it's definitely not going to happen? No, because anything can happen in football. Is it highly unlikely? Probably for me. A bit too weak defensively. What about you, do you think, Josh?
I think it is the defensive issues that is a little bit of a problem. I think, you know, so far from what we've seen of Chelsea, the biggest side that they came up against was Sevilla, 0-0 draw, which you could say is a fairly decent result in the respect of the team. But when they come up against bigger sides, you know, if they come up against like a Bayern Munich again or a Real Madrid, or even some of the Premier League sides that they face, like they could come up against a Manchester City in the next round. I think they're just a little bit too weak at the back in comparison to some other sides, but they've got a very good attack. That's the thing, you know, when they've got Havertz and Werner, they're both good on their day. I just don't think yet that Chelsea are strong enough to go out there and win it. But if they continue to spend in the way that they have done specifically this season and go out and try and revitalise this team, reshape it and bring in new players, who's to say that maybe that can't happen in the next few years?
Yeah, and because it's now over 2 legs, in the league you can kind of bank on outscoring your opponent because that might be the way Chelsea have to go about it this year. But over a 2-legged fixture, you can't use the mindset of we'll just outscore them, because if you're conceding 3 away goals, but yeah, you scored 4 at home, but that just makes the away leg so much more difficult because that rule is still intact. So I think they won't manage to do it this year. Keep building though, you never know.
But never say never. That's the thing with the Champions League. It's a special competition indeed. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the Champions League. Of course, we've got more watch-alongs of that to come when the competition comes back in a few weeks' time, and we should be underway in a moment with the second half of Benfica and Rangers. There are going to actually be some substitutions, I think, made by Rangers. Not Rangers, Benfica early on in this game, and Jorge Jesus isn't messing about here, is he?
No, that looks like, I think that might be Ferro. I think the centre back, or I'm not quite sure because everyone's on the sideline at the moment, I'll be honest.
So we've got a change here. Alex Grimaldo's coming on. That's one of the players. And then I think coming on in this game is going to be, I think, Helton Leite. We'll find out in a second here with the 2 players that are coming on just in a moment. So Rangers not messing about here in this game. It's Gilberto, not Benfica. I keep saying Rangers. Benfica make a change. Gilberto Jr. is coming on. And then we've got Grimaldo coming on. So 2 changes early on here for Benfica in the second. I nearly said Rangers again. I need to stop saying their name. 2 changes for Benfica here early in the second half.
Yeah, because believe it or not, Goncalves has come off, and after the first half he had, I'm not very surprised at all. Obviously scored the own goal, and it wasn't his fault that Borna Barisic made the on-rushing run, but everything was coming down that side. So he's looked to address that in the second half, and I can't tell who's come off for Grimaldo. Maybe it was Nuno Tavares, a quick immediate swap. I'm not sure.
It is indeed.
It was indeed, yeah. So just 2 swaps at full-back for Jorge Jesus, and that is 3 changes in the back 4.
Not the brightest of days for Goncalves at the back, hence why he's come off here. But we are underway with the second half of this game. Of course, once again, for those of you that are watching the stream, we are going to be a little bit behind in terms of time, in terms of the stream that we're currently watching, so try not to spoil what's going on in the game for us. But you'll also be able to see on the bottom of your screen below the scores of the other games that are going on across the Europa League right now, so we will keep you up to date with the scores and the goals as they do go in. But Rangers coming forward in this first 30 seconds. And
as you say that, he falls out of play and miscontrols it, Josh.
Unbelievable.
The curse of the commentator. Lech Poznan took a 3-1 lead over Standard Liège straight in the second half.
So they're very good there for Lech Poznan, of course, trying to get their goal difference back up after a few poor results in the last couple of weeks. And then we've had another goal elsewhere pretty instantly into the second half. So nice early start here in a couple of the games. POK have got an equaliser back in their match against PSV Eindhoven. We talked earlier about the goal that went in courtesy of Aaron Zahavi. There's been an equaliser from Stefan Schwab. So a goal there means that POK back in their game. 1-1 as it currently stands in that match.
So a very good start for some of the teams in this group, more specifically Lech Poznan, who will narrow the gap between them and Benfica. However, Rangers putting themselves in a brilliant position to make it through in this group. If Standard Liège can get back and draw that game, I think you could pretty much secure Rangers as maybe through to the next round as Morelos charges down a long ball, but Benfica can recover.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the table as it currently stands right now, Liège will be sat bottom of the group, no wins, of course, currently 3-0 down to Lech Poznan. I'm going to wait a second here because Rafa's coming forward. And it's a very weak ball, trying to get it into the path of Severovic, and eventually Rangers are going to be able to clear this away, hopefully. We'll have to find out in a second, but Liège bottom of the group on 0 points. Lech Poznan, with this win today, it'll be their first win, first points on the board. So they're going to third on 3 points. Second, as you would expect, would be Benfica. Were unbeaten until now, currently 2-1 down to Rangers, and then Rangers will go top of the group. 9 points on the board, puts them in a very good position to go through to the next round. And I think for many Rangers fans, you wouldn't have expected to have finished top, but there's a good chance that they could do that tonight as they come forward.
Yeah, Barisic again, it's that long ball switch in behind the defensive line of Rangers. They may have made 3 changes in the back 4, but they're being cut out by the same ball time and time again, just that long ball over the top. If Rangers can keep their line and make sure they're on the side, I could see a lot of chances coming from that again.
I agree with you. I think it has been a case of Rangers playing a long ball quite often in this game, and it's worked quite well. And I think no matter what changes you're going to make at the back, it's not going to change the fact that you've lost the extra man. And I think now in this second half, I would expect Rangers to have much more possession than they did in the first. We kind of talked a bit earlier about how the red card hadn't really affected the possession of play. You know, both teams were very even indeed, but I think now I would expect Rangers to have much more possession in this second half and have lots more chances in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And you can clearly see when Benfica are out of possession, it is a back five. Julian Weigl is slotting in there to create the three centre-halves. So I'm not surprised at all. But they are still being caught out, which is, add another centre-half and they still can't do it.
Well, that's the thing. They're looking very sloppy at the back, and I was surprised they didn't bring on someone like Ferrer rather than Jardel. I know Ferrer's been really out of touch over these last couple of months at Benfica. Doesn't really start as much as you'd expect him to, but Jardel's coming there. Once again, another experienced head at the back. So you've got two fairly experienced players in defence right now for Benfica. But no matter how much experience those two boys have got, it's not going to make up for the fact that they're 2-1 down. No,
it's not at all. And that's the thing. If you are going to play a high line, I'll be honest, I don't back the pace of Vertonghen and Jardel. So, they've not got the recovery pace of a Kyle Walker or of a Virgil van Dijk. When they get caught up in behind, and Joe Gomez, they're pacey players that can keep up with the attackers. I sadly don't see that from there.
Yeah, I don't see it as well, and of course I think I would expect a little bit more pace to come on later on for Rangers to try and test this backline a bit more. We'll know Vertonghen and the likes of Vertonghen and Jardel are going to get a little bit more tired in this game, so bring on some like an Enes Hadji who can come on. Brandon Barker I think would be a perfect player to bring on as well in this game, a little bit more pace and put the pressure on this backline because space is going to open a lot more in this second half, and Benfica just with a little bit of possession at the halfway line right now. They've got to try and do something themselves in this game because they can't sit back for 45 minutes and defend against this 11-man Rangers side. No, they can't. They've got to keep this Rangers side honest. They've got to keep something on offense, but they've not managed to do that so far. As Everton will whip a ball towards the box, but yet again, there's just no problems for this Rangers defence. It's one clearance and they're back in control of the game. Really poor from Benfica, but as I will say, I do feel a little bit sorry for them with that 10 men. They have indeed, and there's been a goal elsewhere in the game between Ludogorets and Spurs. You might have just seen the update on the screen. Ludogorets are right back into it. Claudio Kesaru, Romanian Ludogorets, has put them back into the game, and 5 minutes into the second half, we have a game on our hands against Spurs, and we saw last week against Royal Antwerp, they certainly fluffed their lines in that game, and could they potentially do it again tonight after it's been 2-0 up? Mourinho won't be happy because it's one shot on target, one goal for this Ludogorets side. And James Tavernier has broke the defensive line again. He's causing problems on the right. He'll drill it across. Oh, it's a lovely ball. And how easy is it for that man, Alfredo Morelos, to put that ball in the back of the net? Absolutely simple, and again the credit has to go to James Tavernier. Tavernier, incredible player, former Rotherham legend. He is inside on the right all the time. You put Grimaldo in there, it doesn't matter. He still finds that ball. Great pass in behind to him. He keeps driving towards the box. He's onside, and as you say, that man Alfredo Morelos is at the back post. He creates space for himself. Nuno Santos just completely ignores him. He completely ignores him, forgets to track the run. And Morelos can't miss from there. It's awful marking from Nuno Santos there. I mean, it's terrible. The fact that he's just able to run freely, nobody's watching him, the players are ball watching. Morelos gets into that back post, and I have to say, they've got to be incredibly frustrated because that is shocking defending from Benfica. And we said at half-time, if Rangers can get another goal in this game and make it 3-1, it's going to make things so much more comfortable for them. I think they've got to try and push and get a few more here. They've got, well, now it's one of them, it's foot on the throat. Yeah. Keep pushing. Embarrass them if you can. Because defensively, they look awful tonight, Benfica. And yes, they look shockingly bad at the back. They've got 10 men, fine. Because let's be fair, 11 men, Rangers never troubled them. But still, you've got to stick to your jobs. And Nuno Santos there was embarrassing levels of marking. But Rafa is on the right, and he'll try and get a ball into the box. It's a set piece for Benfica, as D. Rogers asked where we're from. I am from Manchester. And I'm from Sheffield, so we've got quite a bit of a look. Yeah, it's quite close to Sheffield.
Yeah, true.
In terms of distance-wise. It's easier, isn't it, in terms of
true.
saying Sheffield.
I understand what you were saying.
Everyone knows the cities more than the towns. But in terms of this set piece right now, this is probably where opportunities are going to come from tonight for Rangers. Keep saying Rangers, Benfica. I'm so obsessed.
You are obsessed with the team in the league. But this is a ball now, whipped in. You've got to try and make most of these dead ball situations. It's whipped in, doesn't beat the first man.
Sorry for the ASMR.
It's all right. And the goal scorer, Alfredo Morelos, doing his defensive duties brilliantly there. And we said they had to make the most of it. They made nothing of that.
Yeah, really, really poor indeed. As I was saying before, they have to make the most of set pieces tonight. It was a really, really poor set piece, really poor corner indeed. And, well, if they put the ball into the back of the net, it makes things very interesting indeed. 3-2, as Rangers just think they've got the lead, got a foothold in this game. Boom, Benfica have got back into it, but they're coming forward here now, and they might have that chance with Rafa coming forward. He's doing very well indeed. Rafa's still going. Oh, and well, he did everything perfectly apart from the shot.
I think he's trying to drill that across the goal. I think he's trying to look for one of his strike partners in Everton or Seferovic, but he should have took the shot on himself.
He should have just gone for it.
Oh, what a magical run.
And he has as well. Oh,
what a magical run from Rafa. He was past one. He breezed past the tackle of, I think it was Glenn Kamara in the midfield. Then he tapped it past Helander, whose aimless leg missed him as well. And it was just a great run. Sadly, if he'd have scored there, what a goal that would have been.
It would have been a very lovely goal indeed, and he's probably been one of the better players on the pitch tonight, Rafa, getting that assist for the first goal. That will be classed as an own goal in the end. But just look at the chat right now. Carl saying amazing Rangers. Kenny Hamilton said about Morelos not scoring earlier. He's got the goal now. A fantastic finish from him indeed. And then Alexa, how are you doing, buddy? Hope you're all good. He says, considering what he's done with the club since he's come in, I am convinced Gerrard will be a legitimate Klopp replacement. I used to joke about it, but by the time 2024 comes, he will be ready. Just how bloody good has Gerrard been since he's come in for Rangers? Because there was that point, I think, for Rangers fans, I think it was kind of last year or the year before, where there was questions being asked about Gerrard and whether he was the right man to take Rangers forward as a club. They were going forward a little bit, but it was one step forward, two steps back. This season, they look fantastic to watch. Like a really, really good side. I know, of course, Benfica are down to 10 men, but across the board this season, after watching them in the Old Firm, watching a couple of the Scottish Premiership games, they look really good.
They are. They've been brilliant so far in this campaign. But, it's one of them. What do they prioritise this year? Is it the league or European? Because last year they had a great European run, which, if you were a fan of Gerrard, then, what a brilliant set of results, because they managed to knock out Braga after going 2-0 down at Ibrox. They managed to make it quite far. They came up against a really good Leverkusen side.
The result at Porto as well in the group was a fantastic result, and the Leverkusen game was unfortunately not as competitive, but they're coming forward here again, Rangers. Alfredo Morelos trying to put a ball just towards the edge of the box for Tavernier, who's been excellent tonight. Absolutely quality. Rotherham legend, just proving how good he is. And he took the shot from outside of the box straight to the hands of Latronimos. But he's been really, really good tonight, hasn't he?
He has. He's been everything good about this Rangers attack. And unfortunately, he wasn't involved in the second. But for the first and third, his balls into the box have caused problems. It might not have been the first one, It was still a very good ball which had to be dealt with. And it was clearly too difficult for Gonçalves. So credit to Tavernier. His movement going forward is brilliant. And he's been solid enough defensively. And have we seen that he tackles and slides and gets the ball back, and he's on that forward run again.
He's just a great player to watch on his day, and he's still got the ball now. Oh, it's a lovely ball towards Alfredo Morelos. Tries to lay it back to Tavernier, and well, the touch is a little bit awkward. It's the pass. A good bit of defending there at the back just to make it awkward for Tavernier to get a touch, and that nearly was an exquisite 1-2 between Morelos and Tavernier.
Rangers are having fun now.
Yeah, they are. This is it's enjoyable to watch because it does feel like we could see a few more goals, and here come Rangers once again. It's Ken on the left wing. What can the Englishman do? He's inside of the box, just tries to get it towards the edge, and eventually it's cleared away, and it is desperate defending right now from Benfica.
But it's back again as Barisic tries a 1-2 with Glenn Kamara, and it ricochets off Rafa, and it's a throw-in the attacking third for Rangers. And I've got to admit, these are the European nights that, I'll be honest, you probably can't wait for the journey home just to talk about how good. But you don't want these nights to end when you're trying to play this style of football.
No, and the great thing for Rangers is they've got another half an hour of action to still play here. We could see a few more goals, and as we said earlier, just take them on now. Just see if you can get a few more goals in this game. Make it 4-1, 5-1, because right now, 3-1 is a good result. 4-1 just becomes a little bit more embarrassing. And, well, they've got half an hour to do so, but we've had a few more goals elsewhere. There's been a goal. In fact, there's been 2 goals in that game between PAOK and PSV. I was going to say a moment ago, of course, PSV took the lead in this game. PAOK have made it 3-1 in that game now. 2 very quick goals indeed, and the goals in that game have come from, very quickly to just make sure, Andrea Zivkovic, former Benfica man tonight. He'll be happy he's not playing in this game. And Christos Tzolis, the Greek midfielder. And POK having a fantastic night indeed in their match. And then the only game of the night which hadn't had a goal has finally got a goal in the game. Real Sociedad 1-0 up against AZ Alkmaar. The goal going to Porto as Rangers have a free kick here.
Borna Barisic from the left whips it in. It's an easy header. Clear by Benfica, but there is no one up front for the clearance ball. And we'll just have a quick look at the chat. Sorry, Josh, I'll rob that.
It's alright, squeeze in there.
Sasha feels awful and his day is ruined. I hope that's not because of Benfica, but I think it might be.
I think it might be.
So I apologise for that. I am from Nepal, bro. How's COVID going there? Stay safe. Thank you very much. Stay safe yourself. We are back into a national lockdown for a month. And do you want to know a fun fact about Nepal?
Go on then.
It's the only country's flag that's not a rectangle or a square. There you go. Fun fact alert.
Something you learn every day. The more you know.
Yeah, that's exactly. If Gerrard didn't know, even though he's from there you go.
That's an extra fact to put in the head there. Remember that one for life. It might come into pub quiz someday. You never know, indeed. But yeah, we're back into a month's lockdown here, and I guess it's only a month. It could be much worse, compared to the 6 months that we had before. But there is going to be another change here. For Benfica, and Severovic is coming off. I think Darwin Núñez is coming on.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think Severovic hasn't really been in the game. Maybe with 11 men, you whip some more balls into the box and he can kind of use his frame and his shape as a bit of a nuisance, but not today. So young Darwin will come on and hopefully he'll make some headlines.
Fingers crossed, because he's had a very good start in a Benfica shirt. Very young player, very good. Scored quite a few goals actually quite recently for Benfica, so it could be a good chance for him to try and impress and get his home side back into this game. But we've just hit the hour mark of this match. Benfica 1, Rangers 3. I don't think I expected this game to go the way it has, but it's been a really enjoyable match to watch.
It has, but this is why you can never predict football sometimes, because who'd have saw that? Well, I saw the red card coming. I said pre-match it was going to happen. But who would have seen this game change in the way it did after 20 minutes? Because it is literally night and day from the first 20 minutes now.
It pretty much is. And although we've had a few little chances from Benfica, there's not really much to scream about. Although they're coming forward here on the right-hand side.
Rafa's managed to free Nuno Santos, but his ball into box is quite easily dealt with.
It's a great clearance. Just hoofs it away on the volley. It's gone all the way back to Vlachodimos, who's had to come out of his goal. And of course, Alexis saying about POK. Come on, POK, what a result for them tonight if they can hold on 3-1 up currently. And talking about teams that have gone 3-1 up, we have had a goal elsewhere, and I think Spurs fans will be delighted to know that they are now 3-1 up in their game. Ludogorets, they got a goal back within the first 5 minutes of the second half. They've now got a 3-1 lead, much more comfortable, and the goal in that game has come from Lo Celso, which is always nice to see. He scores every once in a while, but he's put a nice comfortable lead now for Spurs as they go 3-1 in their game.
Very
good indeed.
Very talented midfielder, Giovanni Lo Celso. Got a lot of time for him as Darwin has kind of held up the ball there, but it's not quite enough to structure a Benfica attack as the ball will be turned over and it will now be Rangers' ball for the foreseeable.
Yeah, and just passing around the back right now, as I said, there doesn't have to be a sense of urgency to go forward anymore. But I think, as I said, it'd be nice if they could get 1 or 2 more in this game because, it then becomes embarrassing, the result. And to be fair, I think Benfica should be embarrassed with how they performed in this last hour. And I think not the attack, but the defence. They should be embarrassed with how poor they've played. And Well, they're just trying to come forward here once again, Rangers. It's a ball that has been lofted towards the right wing, and I think Joe Rebo just trying to push forward there and get the ball, and eventually it's some good defending at the back there for once. Very rare to say that in this last hour for Benfica, hasn't it, Kieran?
Yeah, it was a bit overhit, so Jan Vertonghen had the head start, which I think he needed, but Ryan Jack is thrown a beautiful through ball.
Oh, he's hit the post. Oh, that really should have been 4-1, shouldn't it, Kieran?
It should have been. Oh. It was Ryan Jack on the edge of the box. He really thread the needle to Ryan Kent, who was rushing into the box. He tried to bend it around Vlachodimos, but he bends it too far and he hits the outside of the post. Great chance for Rangers, and Ryan Kent must have thought he'd scored.
He really must have thought he had scored there, and when you actually look at the shot, it always looked like it was going to be going wide of the mark and hitting the outside of the post. But it's such a good ball, and it's such a good opportunity that, 9 times out of 10 you'd expect to be put into the back of the net. And as I said earlier, if it's 4-1, we're talking a very embarrassing result indeed, but still plenty of chances to come. And Gerrard just put, I know, bro, Nepal is very unique, and flag of Nepal is triangular because of Mansigna's country, I think he put that. And world's highest peak, Mount Everest, is also situated here. Yeah. So Nepal's flag is triangular because of that reason.
It is indeed, because I'm pretty sure that's where the Himalayas are in Nepal as well. But do you know what? Should we just call this? Oh my God!
Well, we have to stop there for a second because Vlachodimos had come out of his net, but originally the chance being given is offside. Christ Boys in the stream says, hello, how you doing? I don't think you'll be happy with the result tonight and how it's going for Rangers so far in this game, but you never know tonight. Hopefully a good result potentially for Celtic against Sparta Prague, and then Gerrard just put, today's Rangers night. It really is. It
is indeed, bro, it is. And I think we should just make this Nepal information evening.
I mean, it's always nice to get to know new facts.
But from Nepal to Naples, because Napoli have took a 2-1 lead. You're welcome.
I like the interlink there into the Napoli goal. There has indeed been a goal in that game. Napoli, they were 1-0 down originally to Rijeka. They've now brought it back in that game, 2-1 up in their match. We'll see who the goal scorer is in just a moment's time. Benfica were coming forward there, but 2-1 now to Napoli, and it's an own goal. Philip Brout for Rijeka unfortunately put it into the back of the net, and another goal elsewhere. What a night it is. We're saying it's Rangers night. I think it might be POK's night. It's now 4-1 against PSV Eindhoven, certainly running riot. And me and Roman, we watched them in the Champions League playoff fixtures. They were all right, not really anything special, but they're certainly giving a rout tonight because 4-1 up, and it's another goal for Andrea Zivkovic, who used to play for Benfica.
Of course, and also Granada are now 2-0 up against Ammonia as well. Ammonia down to 10 men.
Luis Suarez, not that Luis Suarez, the one on loan from Watford with the goal in that game. So 2-0 there.
Gone from Championship football to Europa League football. That's a beautiful ball in behind. Whoa, he's just offside. I thought he timed the run to perfection there, Grimaldo. The long ball did find him. It's a beautiful touch. And he is just a kneecap offside, maybe.
Very, very unlucky indeed, because we said earlier about the limited chances that Benfica were going to get. They've had 2 quite decent chances. That opportunity there, which just needed to time the run a little bit better, and then the Rafa chance, which I think, as we said earlier, should have taken on the shot rather than trying to cross to no one. But Crespo's put, he doesn't mind Rangers winning in the Europa League.
As long as it's not the league, unless I'm guessing they're facing Celtic in the later rounds, if you do get that far.
Oh, I
hope you're looking forward to the game tonight, Crespo. Let us know if you think you're going to win.
Yeah, good game against Sparta Prague away from home. Should be a very good test indeed, but they've got to go out there tonight, Celtic, and get a result against Sparta Prague if they've got any hope of getting out of their group. But it should be very interesting indeed, and although, of course, Celtic have got a lot of work to do to get out of the group, I think every Scottish fan would love to see in the knockout stages Celtic versus Rangers in the Europa League. Double-legged fixture.
They would, as we see a substitution. Everton has come off. Not really been in the game tonight. The Brazilian, the £18 million man from Gremio, has been replaced by the man from the Bundesliga, Waldschmidt.
He has indeed, and just trying to check, see if there's any other goals that have gone across the board. There hasn't been indeed. Of course, we said a moment ago, Granada 2-0 up against Ammonia. Ammonia down to 10 men in their match. And did I just put, what do you think about Cristiano Ronaldo's match yesterday?
I didn't watch the game.
I had it on, and he was. I think it was one of those nights for Ronaldo where he didn't really have to show up, but he did very well. He got, I think, 2 assists in the game, maybe 3 assists. I can't remember exactly how many he got. I think it was 2, but you didn't see a great deal of Ronaldo on the night. But I think that's sometimes quite scary when you don't see him and he's got 2 assists. But we've got a chance here for Rangers, and Ryan Kent, just with an effort from outside of the box, trying to curl it into that bottom right-hand corner. Yeah,
that post that denied him of a goal earlier. I think he tried to get revenge and bend it in round that corner again. But again, just past the post this time. Not as agonisingly close as the last one. Good effort from the edge of the box, but not quite. You know, and on Ronaldo, his performance off the bench on the weekend, that was what was very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. The way he changed the game up and got Juventus the result in the end. And I think that's just the scary part of Ronaldo, isn't it? When you don't see him, he tends to be sometimes at his scariest when he's just pinging balls left, right and centre. But we've got about under 20 minutes left of this game. Still 3-1 to Rangers in this match. I think we would surely expect a few changes for Rangers soon because we haven't had any yet. And I would expect maybe a few attacking changes up top to rest some players. Well, they're coming forward now.
Yeah, Morelos again has been freed from a through ball down the right. It's a really nice whipped ball in from Alfredo Morelos. It couldn't quite find the feet of Kent. It was defended very well. And Darwin is unable to keep the clearance in play. Throw into Rangers. But yeah, Benfica made all 5 subs. Rangers have made a big fat 0.
Yeah, and I think they've got to come soon. I think Morelos will come off at some point. Rest him up now. I think the game is pretty much done and dusted, and we are actually now going to see our first change of the game. It's going to be Joe Aribo coming off for Scott Arfield. I can't say that was the first substitution I was going to expect of the match, but maybe it might be a case of keeping the best players on to try and score a few more.
Yeah, I thought Aribo was going to be replaced. I didn't expect it to be by Scott Arfield. I thought it may be by Brandon Barker, maybe someone like that, but fair play. It's kind of probably to shore up the game, add a bit of midfield and really dictate that centre of the park.
Yeah, and as we expected, they've had much more possession, I think, in the second half than Benfica had when they did go down to 10 men with 20 minutes left of the match. I mean, Sasha's just put in the comments about what we were talking about. Who is Ronaldo?
Who really knows?
Who is he? But Rangers coming forward here, and it's could be another chance here to make it 4-1 in the game.
It's lovely 1-2 between James Tavernier. Oh my God!
Oh, it's again. That's twice now where we could have had good interlinking football. Oh,
that would have been magical. It's what you learn on the training ground. It's a bit of pass and move. It was Morelos. It was Tavernier to Morelos to Tavernier into Arfield, and it was trying to go back to Tavernier, but his touch was too heavy and it went into the hands of the Greek goalkeeper. But what a wonderful goal that would have been.
It's just beautiful to watch. It's what we said earlier. Rangers can now go out there and they can enjoy themselves. They don't have to. There's not a sense of urgency, but they can try things like that. The lovely interlinking football as they come forward again, and it just feels like it's a matter of time before the 4th goal goes in.
Yeah, sometimes Rangers' performances, you look at Rangers' old firm performance, very industrial, very professional. This is a Rangers playing with freedom. Yeah. This is a Rangers, beginning to express the creativity as Arfield
this has to be a ball put in. Oh, I don't know why he's not put it in there, Tavernier, but they're going to keep the play going here. Now the ball is lofted back to Tavernier, and I think he should have put that ball in first time.
He should have, but again, beautiful play in and around the area as Arfield sprayed the ball wide to James Tavernier. Should have gone with the first time ball, but tried to give the ball to Jack, but nothing came of it.
He did indeed, and we have had another goal in one of the games, and Rowan will be absolutely buzzing because Slavia Prague have now taken a 3-1 lead against OGC Nice, and Nice, well, actually, they've struggled quite a bit in the group stages so far, of course, dropped points against Leverkusen, got battered in that first game. Now they're about to lose to Slavia Prague, which means as it currently stands, they go top of the group, and Jan Kuchta has got his 2nd goal on the night as Benfica come forward in this game.
Yeah, Darwin nicks the ball off the centre-back and he'll spray it to the edge of the box where Adult to right. It's going to take a strike, surely, but he goes with the Ronaldo chop and kind of slows the attack down a little bit.
It's a little bit, I think it was a little bit awkward for him there to try and take that shot on, and he didn't really have anybody there next to him to be able to pass the ball and lay it off. But Slavia Prague 3-1 up now. They're top of the group in theirs right now as it currently stands, which is bonkers when you think about it in terms of who's in that group, with Leverkusen and Nice being the 2 big sides. But they're 3-1 up right now, as are Rangers, with about 19 minutes left of the match. Benfica coming forward here once again. desperation is going to start kicking in for the Portuguese side, because if they want to try and salvage a point, they're going to have to get a goal back soon, and it really doesn't feel like they're going to get a goal at all.
No, Rangers are doing a brilliant job at frustrating this Benfica side. They're not allowing gaps, they're not allowing spaces for the attacking players to run into. No real threat from Benfica so far, as we're getting an advertisement there for Box Office, Josh, which I've got to admit, I'm glad it's going.
Yeah, it looks like pay-per-view football is going. Of course, if you're watching the Premier League games, you'll know right now it's a little bit frustrating with pay-per-view games. Looks like that might be going after the international break, which is fantastic indeed. Of course, we don't like pay-per-view football here in the UK. It's shit, and hopefully it's gone and we never have to see it again. Bernaldo's in the building. He says, scoreline is the same for the Gers and the Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.
Gers and the Spurs?
The Gers and the Spurs. Great, isn't it?
It's a TV show there, I swear.
Sounds like it. Sasha says, yesterday was the best. Of course, Morata scoring 2 goals in that game for Juventus. And Diraja said, who do you think will be the qualifiers of Group G in the Champions League? I've just got it up so we can have a check. It's the group with Barcelona and Juventus. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to stay, isn't it, really?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that with the 2 bottom teams only being on 1 point apiece, as much as we loved Ferencváros getting a point, didn't do much for their help. It will be interesting to see who does finish 3rd in that group, though. That'll be very interesting. I hope it's Ferencváros.
It will be indeed, and we've had a goal elsewhere, and Hapoel Beersheva tonight have put up a really good fight against Bayer Leverkusen, but it looks like the German side might have just been able to salvage a victory in that game. It's Leverkusen 3, Hapoel Beersheva 2. The goal has come from Leon Bailey with his 2nd on the night. You don't tend to see his name much anymore in a Leverkusen shirt, but he certainly brought the goods tonight. Sadly, 2 goals in that game, and looks like they're going to get a win.
Sadly knocks Slavia off top spot, I'm pretty sure. You'll have to double check, Josh, but I'm pretty sure that has knocked Slavia off. Oh no, on goal. Oh, head to head.
Head to head.
So Slavia will stay top. If it was goal difference, they'd be 2nd.
Well, luckily, head to head comes into play, which is always a good thing. Rowan will be delighted with that, of course. If you don't know about it, Rowan, who of course is on the Sports Corner quite often with us, is a good Slavia Prague fan and admirer of the club. And they're doing quite well right now, aren't they, in their Europa League group?
For some reason, doesn't really track football, but tracks Slavia Prague, which... Each to their own.
Each to their own, indeed. But we've got 15 minutes left here. Benfica 1, Rangers 3. I think we probably see a few more substitutions soon from the away side. Couple more chances in this game for Benfica in the last few minutes, but nothing really major to scream and shout about for the home side.
No, Rangers definitely taking their foot off the gas. I don't think they're very tired at all, because they can just kind of pass the ball around and go at a walking pace really now, because they don't have to chase the game. So I think for them, this last couple of minutes, they can build some attacks when they want to and just stay defensively solid as they keep the ball in the midfield.
Absolutely. Sasha saying that Ronaldo was invisible yesterday. I wouldn't say he was invisible. I think he was very quiet, but he still got a few assists to his names. There's Rangers are in here. Alfredo Morelos trying to take a shot on the half volley from inside of the box, but a deflection on the ball means we're not going to get the goal that we might have wanted there. And then Bernard's put CR7 still socially distancing, of course, having COVID not too long ago. But I think the one thing that we want from that group when the Champions League comes back in a few weeks, of course, if you don't know, there's now a little bit of a break with the Champions League and the Europa League. Doesn't come back till the end of November, not the beginning of December, which I thought it was, which makes it even better because it's back a week earlier than I thought it was going to be. But we have a few weeks break, I think 2 or 3 weeks break currently. So we'll have the international fixtures, and then we're back once again with the Champions League and the Europa League. Of course, the fixtures that we've had played this week will then be in reverse next time. So, of course, Rangers will be at home against Benfica in their fixture. I think the one game that we want to see, although Benfica are coming forward here, I think the one game we want to see is that Juventus-Barca game with Ronaldo and Messi both available, because, of course, last time we weren't able to see that. But we did have a chance a moment ago. We still got a chance here.
Darwin's through. Really desperate defending.
It's in! 3-2! Oh, it's game on. And, well, out of nowhere, Benfica have got that goal they've desperately needed back, and it's Rafa Silva. Explain the goal.
Well, Darwin just never gives it up on this left-hand side, and I've got to admit, it's terrible defending again from Philip Helander. He's had a really awful night. It's a ball in behind the back four. Helander can't clear his lines like the first goal. Darwin completely hassles him. McGregor's coming out to try and help. Terrible defending from Rangers, and he can just prod it into the box for an open net for Rafa, and it's as simple as a finish as you'd like. And this now is game on. Brilliant hassling from Darwin, but Philip Alanda has been absolutely awful at clearing his lines.
Shocking defending indeed. And Benfica, somehow, in a game where you thought it was going to be, game, set and match, have got back into it. 3-2. The man that we said has been the best player on the pitch tonight for Benfica, got an assist early for the own goal, has got a goal back in this game. 13 minutes left on the clock. Game on. We saw last night Sevilla, who got a red card, were down to 10 men and were losing their game. They got back into their match and won it. Can Benfica do the same as Rangers come forward here on the right-hand side?
Well, this is it. Now Rangers really have to maybe chase that final goal as Arfield. Terrible cross into the box. Benfica will take that all day long. It's possession for them now. We'll see what they can build on from this goal kick.
Frustrations will be building there for Gerrard. This team have been well and truly battering Benfica for 20-25 minutes. The substitute, Darwin Núñez, who I said has been fantastic for Benfica over the last couple of weeks, comes on, gets his team back into the game. What a match this has been with 13 minutes left of action.
It's what we said. Gerrard would just be saying no silly mistakes, and just like that, Philip Alanda has absolutely fluffed it at the back. He couldn't sort his feet out, and it through-balled Darwin, who prodded the ball across the line, and it's just an open net from Rafa. He can't miss, but now Rangers finally will see an increase in pace as it's a switch from Tavernier to Kent on the left.
And he's got the ball right now. What can the Englishman do? He's had a few chances in this game, which he could rue, potentially missing later on. And the ball looks like he's going to go out of play here, I think, for a throw-in. And I've just seen the chat right now, Bernardo saying, come on Benfica, Vertonghen hat-trick inbound. You never know. And then Carl's asked us a question while we're just seeing a replay of the Kent chance there. Who is your favourite pundit that you could listen to forever? I'm going to say Ian Wright.
Yeah. I don't, not my favourite. I like Alex Scott. I think she's a brilliant pundit. But I'm trying to think now. I could probably listen to Chris Kamara forever, but that's just because he's funny.
Yeah, Chris Kamara is just a great guy, but I think Ian Wright would probably be up there. I think as well, I don't mind listening to Jamie Carragher.
No, I don't.
Jamie Carragher's a very good pundit on his day.
I do, I agree. I think Jamie Carragher, I think with Gary Neville as well, I think they do bounce off each other extremely well. There's been some people that got in, like I enjoyed listening to Poch because it was something very, very different. But could I listen to him forever? No, because I'd rather him on the touchline.
It's always nice having the manager sometimes coming on Monday Night Football, which if you don't know in the UK is a very big kind of punditry show that they have on a Monday night for the football games that they've got on then, and they tend to get a couple of the big managers on sometimes. But in terms of a big game, Benfica 2, Rangers 3, 10 minutes left on the clock. It really is nerve-wracking times indeed in terms of Benfica trying to push back in this game, but just trying to check across the board, has there been any more goals of the night? There has indeed, because Rapid Vienna have taken a 2-1 lead against Dundalk about a minute ago, in fact. Dundalk look like they're still going to be waiting for their first points in the group.
Oh, it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Very heartbreaking. I think there'll be a lot of Dundalk fans gutted. Of course, I think they expected not really to get many points on the board, but tonight is probably their best chance of getting something in a game, and unfortunately, Rapid Vienna have taken the lead if you're a Dundalk fan. 2-1 in that game.
Dundalk, if you're a Dundalk fan, Atalanta did it. It's your turn. Come on, bottom of the group, 0 points.
You never know. Could happen indeed.
To be fair, switch it round. Beat Vienna at home. Beat Mulder. Beat Arsenal. Screw it, they'll be through at that point. They'll play the kids. Come on, Dundalk.
You never know indeed. Bernal says he wants to hear Jimmy Bullard as a pundit.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, I've always loved Jimmy Bullard. I think he's a great personality. But the thing is, sadly, I think he's not as professional.
No, I think there's certain players, you look at and think they could be quite professional, good pundits, and I don't think Jimmy Bullard's one of them. But he's a great person on his day.
He is. He's great. He's a lot of laughs, and obviously, if you ever were in England, you would have saw him on I'm a Celebrity. Got kicked out relatively early, sadly.
But Soccer M's probably his type of show, isn't it? Where he can be a bit more of himself and a bit more eccentric and things like that.
It's the only good thing about the show.
Yes, unfortunately. A lot of shite these days, isn't it, Soccer M? But in terms of the actual question that Carl asked, be interested to see from you guys in the chat, what pundit could you listen to forever? Is there a specific pundit out there in your country, whether you're living in America, whether you're living in Nepal, in the UK? Is there a certain pundit out there that you really enjoy listening to? Be interested to kind of look at your comments towards the end of this game in the chat. But
yeah, because each country is very, very different. Because I remember I was saying, Benaldo, I was watching ESPN Sports Centre, and they had Shaka Hislop as a bit of miscommunication between the Rangers attackers leads the ball to go through to Benfica.
Oh, that's really good defending there, just to make sure the ball doesn't go out of play. He's been the man of the night in terms of Benfica. He's been everywhere on the pitch, and sadly, Rafa is showing the defenders how to do it, which is quite sad to say as Rangers come forward here.
Rangers now, a bit more urgency about the play, whereas they were at walking pace earlier. They're finally having to put a sweat on, because that goal really might change the tide of this game.
And there has been a goal elsewhere. Dundalk fans, get your party hats back on, because it is 2-2. They've instantly got an equaliser back in this game, and we said that they desperately just want to get a point on the board tonight. It's not a case of going through to the next round. They just want to get some points on the board, and they have got a penalty 2 minutes after conceding that goal. David McMillan with the goal, and there's also been another goal elsewhere. 4-0 now in that game to AS Roma. And another goal for Borja Mayoral, so a very good night for the Spaniard indeed. So Roma 4-0 up against Cluj, and Dundalk with a goal back in their game to make it 2-2.
Yeah, lots of goals going in. One makes that game very exciting. The other one for Roma kind of killed the game. We already knew was dead at that point, but this one very well alive and kicking now, as Kent's on the right hand side. See if he can turn the fullback inside out. He doesn't manage to, and he'll just let that one trickle for a throw-in.
There's got to be some changes soon, surely. I would have expected Rangers to have made a few more changes now, bring on a bit more pace, because as you said, they've got to have a bit more of a sense of urgency to try and get that goal and really close this game off, because Benfica will push numbers forward even with 10 men. But Diraj has asked, what do you think that how much has COVID affected football? What are your suggestions for players in terms of to deal with the how it's affected football?
Well, I think it's taken away home advantage. I no longer think home advantage is a thing. If you look at the likes of United in the Premier League, not won at home for 5 or 6 games now.
Haven't won at home this season, I believe, in terms of the Premier League.
The thing is, it goes back to last season though. They didn't win in the last 2 at home, and so I think it has affected. Home games no longer mean anything. Don't mean as much, I should probably say.
Yeah.
For players, you've kind of just got to stick regimented. You've got to stick to your job and your role, and the game doesn't change with COVID. Football is still the same. The atmosphere changes. But for them, they've just got to kind of stick professional and kind of do their job. But I do think it takes away home advantage.
It's a shame. Hopefully, I know, of course, we're seeing across European football that fans are getting back into stadiums slowly but surely. We've seen the Champions League, a couple of the games have had fans allowed back in. I think tonight some of the Europa League games have had fans back in. And hopefully, over time, we can slowly but surely get fans back in. I mean, in the UK, it feels like that's never, ever going to happen ever again. And we've all watched our last games of footballs in our lifetime. But hopefully we can get fans back in soon, because it's a real big miss. But then at the same time, of course, there's been some cracking games in lockdown to keep us busy. And, well, of course, this has been a cracking game tonight. And very nearly Benfica there with a very good opportunity for Waldschmidt.
Yeah, Nuno Santos and Waldschmidt linking up really well. It was a kind of a little chipped ball trying to go through. Conor Goldson left it very confidently. I wasn't as confident as he was.
No, definitely not.
But it did trickle through to Alan McGregor. And Rangers dominating possession, but this game is very much still up in the air with 5 minutes to go.
Absolutely. 54% possession for Rangers, 46% for Benfica. You would expect, of course, Rangers to have more possession with the extra man advantage, and still not really seen any changes here from Rangers. They've only had one substitution in the game so far from the away side, which is quite interesting, because I thought we maybe would have had 2 or 3 more towards the end of this game. But Gerrard still seems to be sticking right now with his main team that he's put out in this game, and well, is it going to cost them? And talking about costing in games, it looks like it's going to be game, set and match, because Leverkusen are now 4-2 up against Hapoel Beersheva, who've had a very good campaign so far, but they came up against Leverkusen tonight. They were 2-up, and ultimately they're going to come out with nothing here. And it's Florian Wirtz, the youngster, with a goal as Rangers come forward.
Yeah, it was terrible defending from Nuno Santos, and Ryan Kent spins his man. Got him tossing and turning. It's fall to Arfield. Morelos takes a touch wide. Vlachodimos closed the space down really well. But I've got to admit, Nuno Santos lost the ball in the middle of the pitch, and I'd be ranting and raving at the man because he didn't track back. And I tell you what, for a substitute as well, that is awful defending. He's been terrible since he came on.
That is a massive save from Vlachodimos. It's not a big save in terms of the actual save itself, but massive in terms of the fact that Ryan Kent does so well on that left-hand side to shimmy past the defence. The ball's laid off to Morelos. Vlachodimos comes out, he makes himself big, stops Morelos from having a chance on goal, and it's a very simple save, but such a crucial one at this stage of the match.
Yeah, that's it. In difficulty levels, it's probably very beginner, but in terms of this game and the context of it, it is gargantuan for Benfica, because this is not long left now, and if you concede one there, it's game over. So the game is still up in the balance. We've got 3 minutes to go, however many added on, because there was only one in the first half. What are you thinking? I'm thinking about 3.
I'm thinking about 3 or maybe 4 minutes. I think there'll be... I don't mind them padding out time here, but there's a long ball on that left-hand side, trying to get it to Barisic. He's kept it in play, but he's not going to have anybody up there. He's just going to try and lay the ball into the box, and it's going to be not expertly cleared away here, and... They're getting lucky. It's been an awful display at the back tonight from Benfica, and it was actually Volschmieder who'd come back to do the defending there.
The attackers have decided to get in on the bad defending for some reason tonight. But again, not sure if you're Barisic, do you bother putting that ball in, or do you go to the corner, try and break off a bit of time? Maybe it's a bit too early for that. But there is only 2.5 minutes left. Nuno Santos is on the right. For some reason, this game now feels, I've just seen the result.
Well, Rapid Vienna have made it 3-2, but go back to your point a second. I'll have a look at the goal scorer in a moment's time.
It's just the fact that Benfica have managed to somehow make a game out of this when, again, this game has had so many ebbs and flows, and when it seemed they were dead and buried, they've currently, they've got the defibrillators out and they're back alive again.
And that's the thing, we were saying, after the third goal went in, that was it. It looked like the game was done. Rangers were at the free-flowing best. I don't think that Rangers have had to be at the very best tonight, but they've enjoyed that spell where they've had the extra man advantage. But yeah, it's become very nervy now, and I think in this situation you are probably looking at starting to go towards the corner flag rather than trying to push and get a fourth goal now. I think that time has been and gone. And talking about time being and going, as you said a moment ago, fortunately for Dundalk, they've just gone 3-2 down to Rapid Vienna. A goal for Maximilian Hoffmann in the 87th minute. Looks like it's going to win it here for Rapid Vienna as Rangers come forward.
Lovely back heel from Ryan Kent. Barisic gets another ball into the box. It's cleared by Benfica. It seems that Rangers are not going to the corner. They want to finish this game off right here and right now. But there is only a minute to go.
Could it cost them in the end? We'll have to find out. Roma now 5-0 up against Cluj. It is a goal for Pedro, of course, former Chelsea man. He's got in the act before the end of the game. So 5-0 to Chelsea. 5-0 to Chelsea. 5-0 to Roma in their game. Running right, indeed. But Benfica coming forward here.
Oh, and just a miscommunication from Adel Taarabt and Darwin. He slotted it to the right and Darwin was running to the left. I got very, very nervous there, and it seems the Rangers defenders are the same.
Very nervy indeed. Kyle's putting the chatting Islander group, watching Bill O'Reilly, John Giles, Liam Brady and Eamon Dunphy, always bantering each other. Great Craig, happy memories watching them, of course. Dundalk, I'm assuming that situation. Then let's put PK just smashed PSV. Massive win. Very, very good result indeed as Rangers come forward here in the final few minutes. And it's a terrible ball.
It is, and it just gives the ball straight back to Benfica. They build the attack from the back. It'll be Nuno Santos. Very lazy earlier in the game, but what a way to change your night if you can get it. And it's 2 minutes.
Not a great deal, and I guess... usually in this situation, we hope there's a little bit more additional time, and they're coming forward here. Benfica, it could be a chance for Bob Darwin. He's on, and he's in! He's done it right at the end of the game. Benfica have nicked it right at the death. It's 3-3, and they were down to 10 men, and Nunes, the hero of the match. Benfica 3, Rangers 3. They have done it.
It is unbelievable.
What a game.
They were trying to see out the game, and it was them trying to attack towards the end, and it's beautiful because Darwin is between the two.
Oh my lord.
He's between Goldson and Hollander. McGregor's coming out. He makes himself big, but it's not enough. He slots it to the right, and it's the youngster Darwin. He came on. He's been brilliant since he's come in, and what a goal that is. And what a moment for Benfica, who look dead and buried with 10 minutes to go. They are back in it, and they've just nicked themselves a point, barring disaster. Rangers, I think they've got the game plan all wrong towards the end.
Well, we said about it. We said, at this stage, go to the corner flag. Forget about going for the fourth goal. And Darwin Núñez, 4 goals in 3 matches now, 2 vital goals on the night. And Benfica have done it. Unbelievable. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit more additional time now because the goal's gone in. But Rangers, I don't know what they were thinking trying to go for a fourth goal at this stage. And you have to say, it is shockingly awful from Rangers in terms of the decision of whether to attack or defend, and they have bottled it at the end of this game.
It is absolutely terrible. Gerrard can just stare into space. He can't even, I don't even think he can fathom what's happened, but there's a long ball over the top. Barisic will chase. He manages to get his head on it, but it's cleared, and now Rangers have to fight back. There is still only 10 seconds in this game, if time is added on, of course. It's a long ball, headed on. Vlachodimos will come and collect, and that might very well be it. And what a monumental cock-up from Rangers. They were 3-1 up. They were 10 men. They were a man up.
And I don't know why they attacked, and the referee, he blows his whistle. It's game, set and match. And Rangers have bottled it in the moment where you would have expected them to sit back, hold off, and just take the victory. They try and attack, and just like that, Benfica are able to go the other end at the end of the game, and Darwin Núñez, the substitute, with 2 vital goals in this match. Of course, we had the early goal, which Conor Goldson put into the back of his own net, and somehow Rangers have bottled it. It's a free draw on what could surely be a Europa League classic.
I cannot believe what we've just witnessed. Benfica won't be beaten when they're at home in the Europa League. It was awful performance for 70 out of the 90 minutes, but they've got the goals that matter. And Jorge Jesus, he is a tactical mastermind because he brings on Darwin, and that young man changes the game. And that is exactly what he's done. He gets the assist for the first goal, and he scores the goal in added time. He splits the centre-backs. Both Helander and Goldson are chasing shadows, and he slots it past Alan McGregor. And this is how it leaves the table. Benfica will be top on 7 points. Rangers chucked away top. They are now in second on 7 points. Lech Poznan getting their win. They're in third. And sadly, it leaves Standard Liège bottom of the group. But what a night we've had.
What a game indeed. Well, we said there could be some late drama in the match. What we didn't expect is for Benfica to get back into the game. And we said about it last night. Sevilla did something very similar in the Champions League. Benfica doing incredibly well to get back into this game. Of course, it all started early on in the match with the Conor Goldson goal that went into the back of the net for Benfica. Own goal, of course, making it 1-0 in the game. Then there was the red card by Otamendi. Rangers then took 2 goals in very quick fashion. Of course, there was the goal for Kamara, which was the second goal to put Rangers 2-1 up. And then before that, there was the goal that came beforehand, which was an own goal from Gonçalves. And then Morelos made it 3-1 in the second half of the game. It looked like it was going to be done and dusted for Rangers. And then 2 goals from Darwin Núñez. One that was only a couple of minutes after Morelos had scored, and then another one at the very end of the game. There was a minute left of time for Rangers to hold on. Made it 3-3. It is a Europa League classic, but all for the wrong reasons for Rangers.
That's it. If you're a Rangers fan, it's not a classic.
Wow.
It's one you just want to turn away and kind of ignore. I still don't understand it. It was plain sailing, but they must have encountered some stormy seas because Benfica have somehow managed to get a point from this game, and I do not understand how. But what a night for that man Darwin Núñez, and what a night for Benfica Football Club. If you're a Rangers fan, go away, bury your head in the sand and come back in 3 weeks' time and try and put this right, because that is not what should have been happening tonight. But they do have a chance in 3 weeks' time.
No, and I did say Darwin Núñez scored 2. It was actually 1 he scored. Of course, he got the assist for the other goal for Rafa Silva, which is fantastic for him either way. And I mean, the way to look at it for Rangers fans is, right, yes, it's poor in terms of the actual game itself, but they are 4 points ahead of the rest of the pack of Lech Poznan and Liège. You are looking still very likely to go through to the next round. You are still unbeaten this season, and I think it's one of those situations where if you were a fan and somebody said to you you're going to pick up a free draw against Benfica, at the start of the game you would have taken it. Yeah. Not in this situation. It is embarrassing for the way that they decided to play out the last 5-10 minutes. Trying to push forward to get a 4th goal was ludicrous. They should have sat back and defended.
And gone to the corner.
They chose not to. They tried to attack, and ultimately in the end it's cost them. Benfica get a point, which I don't think they ever expected to get in the situation of going 3-1 down with about half an hour left of the game. And what a result, what a game of football. And it's nights like these where, honestly, we're thankful that we get to watch them, but there were certainly fireworks tonight in this game, considering it's bonfire night.
I was going to say at the midway point, I was like, it's bonfire night and we're hoping for some firework. But I tell you what, they have absolutely lit up the Europa League with tonight's performance. But if you're Rangers, you feel like you're the inside of the bonfire at the moment because you were on fire for most of that game, but sadly you've been well and truly extinguished by Benfica.
The fire was put out, and what an incredible game. As I said, it's thankful on nights like these where we get to do the games. And if you have enjoyed it, by the way, and you are new to the channel, do leave a like and subscription because it's always very, very greatly appreciated indeed. Let's have a quick look at the scores, of course, from the rest of the game tonight. It has been an incredible night across the board in the Europa League. Hapoel Beersheva, unfortunately, lost to Leverkusen 4-2. Good result tonight for the Germans. Again, a very good result indeed. Slavia Prague, what a win. There was a goal late on in this game, 3-2 to Slavia Prague. Dan N'Doye with a goal.
Not Dan.
Unfortunately, not the Dan N'Doye. 92nd minute getting a goal back in the game, but it wasn't enough for them to go out there and get a victory. So they won their game 3-2. Incredible result for PAOK against PSV, 4-1 win. Napoli just squeezing out a 2-1 win against Rijeka, not convincing at all. Same for Sociedad, only a 1-0 win against AZ, but a tricky game indeed. Spurs with a 3-1 win over Ludogorets. Roma with the result the night in terms of the goals, of course, 5-0 against Cluj, very comprehensive result. And unfortunately, Dundalk just couldn't get a point on the board. It was 4-2 in the end. Rapid Vienna scoring yet again late on in the game. In fact, it was 4-3 at the end. They got a penalty in the 96th minute. So it was 4-3 Rapid Vienna. Really good game, and just what a night of European action across the board in terms of these early fixtures, because we've got more fixtures at 8 o'clock.
That is it, and what a way to
Unbelievable.
To start it was. And as Diraj says, he got goosebumps towards the end, so did we. We were both here, and I tell you what, we couldn't believe it. Nothing reacts like a goal like that in such a big occasion. And Sasha says, go on Celtic. So obviously, clearly wasn't a big fan. Obviously, Sasha was feeling a bit sad earlier. Well, his day's just been brightened because it has ended a point apiece. And can you believe it? This is only the start for the watch-along weekend.
It is indeed. It's a crazy weekend. We've got so much action still to come on the channel. In fact, here's a look at what's to come on the channel over the next few days. Tomorrow night, we've got our start of our Bundesliga weekend. Werder Bremen from Cologne should be between either 7 or 7:15. I think the game kicks off at 7:30, so keep up to date on the channel. What is definitely happening on Saturday at 5:15, Dortmund versus Bayern Munich. What a game that's going to be in the Bundesliga. And then on Sunday, we've got 2 games to keep our eyes out on. Manchester City taking on Liverpool in the Premier League. That's from 4:15. And then Bundesliga action. Leverkusen Gladbach ends off the Bundesliga weekender from 4:45, kick-off at 5. We'll be covering both games live as they go along, and then on the 12th of November we will know who is in Euro 2020 with the playoff final goals show. There's 3 matches going on that day, so do keep your eyes out for international action, of course, as we unfortunately go to an international break in just a few days' time. But what a match indeed tonight. Absolutely incredible game, and as I said, these are the games where you are incredibly glad that you covered them live, because that was a Europa League classic.
Exactly. There's a reason we do this, and it's because we want to bring content to you, but also we want to cover the games that some people will have turned a blind eye to, and luckily we follow enough football to know that hopefully these games are going to be good. And my lord, did we get a good one tonight. And we hope you all enjoyed it too, and keep in tune to the socials for when we do these again, because as we say, these are can't miss fixtures sometimes, and tonight epitomises that.
Yeah, absolutely was indeed. Cal's put Dundalk could have won if Goldie did better. Oh well, we'll be watching Celtic Sparta Prague next. Great stream, lad. Thank you very much as always for everybody. Of course, if you are new, do leave a like and a subscription. It's always very, very greatly appreciated indeed. We've got obviously plenty more games to come over the next few weeks, but this is it now for us in terms of the Champions League and Europa League fixtures. In a couple of weeks' time, they will be back towards the end of November. We have our Champions League goals show, and then we tend to pick out a game a week in the Europa League. Of course, we will see what happens in terms of the fixtures coming in the next couple of weeks. But as for now, thank you very much, Cal. As always, greatly appreciate it for joining me tonight for what was a momentous occasion in terms of this match.
It's one of them where I thank you, Josh, but I don't think we need to thank any of us, because we'd rather be here watching this fixture and enjoying it with all you guys. We'd like to thank you for anyone who was new, subscribed, or even spoke in the chat. And you, Diraj, as well, who subscribed today and who says, what do we think between Arsenal and Mould? I think we're both in consensus it's going to be an Arsenal victory.
I think it will be an Arsenal victory indeed. But it was an absolutely incredible night indeed. There were bonfires galore across Scotland, but they were certainly put out in the last couple of minutes. They were 3-1 up against Benfica. and they got back into the game. Absolutely incredible result. Fireworks across the board tonight in this match, but unfortunately not for the right reasons for Rangers. Thank you very much for joining us as always. We'll hope to see you again soon. Have a great morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you again soon. Good night.